Hi, everybody. It's Denise, and today I'm here to talk about Chiron entering Taurus, and that is June 19th, and it's going to be at 2:49 p.m., and that is here on the West Coast. So please check for your own time. And this is a very interesting video or subject. It totally is, right? I have all the timestamps so you can, skip ahead to see your sun, moon, and rising, and anybody else sign that you kind of want to see, right? And those are at the top of the comments, and they are pinned. All right. So let's get into this here. And who was Chiron? Chiron was a centaur, and he was shot with an arrow which was a poisonous arrow. So he suffered and he gave up his immortality so he could free Prometheus. And so I'm not really sure the whole thing with Prometheus, but so he could free Prometheus. And then he was sent to, by Zeus, he was sent to be among the cosmos and the constellations, right? And he was called Centaurus, right? Now, Chiron was also, he was wise and kind, and he was skilled with medicine. So when we talk about Chiron, a lot of people will call Chiron the wounded healer, right? And Chiron, since he was intelligent and skilled with medicine, it does speak about healing from a spiritual point of view. Yes, there can be healing, any way, but because Chiron was about reflection and introspection, so it's very interesting, right? Now, yeah, and Chiron is the wound that we use to sabotage ourselves. And I have found that true in looking at several charts, hundreds of charts, where you just see where people have been, kind of hindering themselves because of this wound, right? Now, it's moving into value, kind of value-based Taurus. Taurus is about our values. It's about how we value ourselves. It's our self-worth. It's our stability, and it is material comfort and finance as well. Taurus rules. It's an earth sign. It's a fixed sign. So, and Taurus rules the throat. So that's what I want to talk about before we get into each sign. Um, but Chiron is making a sextile to the sun in Gemini. The sun is still in Gemini, until I believe until June 20th, which is coming up the next day after the transit of Chiron. And so the Chiron is making a sextile to the sun. This is an opportunity to understand ourselves better. Remember, I was talking about reflection and introspection, right? To express yourself more authentically, because that's what the sun is about. Chiron sextiles the North Node in Pisces. This is another opportunity if you are willing and aware. With the sextiles, we have to be aware, right? That there's something, an opportunity for us, and we have to act, we have to engage. It's a social aspect. And so Chiron is sextiling the North Node. This is our soul mission, our soul's mission, our true potential, our higher calling, if you will, our higher potential. And this is really to trust in your life path and move into your higher self, trusting your inner knowing, your intuition. Remember, the North Node is in Pisces, if you know. Yeah. And also self-compassion, really important. Chiron is trining the moon and the South Node in discerning Virgo. This is a harmonious flow supporting a newer, stronger emotional foundation that no longer identifies with lack and self-limiting thoughts and conversations, right? Excuse me, the sun is the sextile to the moon is also emphasizing this clarity as the moon is illuminating that. And let me just turn on this light because I don't know if it's dark in here. At least for the camera. For me, it's definitely not dark. All right, so now Taurus rules the throat and the shoulders. So there can be anything that is kind of that is related to that is physical, of course, that can be healed, right? Or that can be overcome. Sometimes, Chiron speaks of a vulnerability or a sensitivity that we have. It's not always a physical, or it's not usually a major wound, but it definitely can be. But that major wound, because it can be the wound that we sabotage ourselves with, that wound, so to speak, can affect us, even if it's psychological, it can affect our physical body. That's how it works, right? And the moon is connected to that. The moon is connected to the mind and body. And so, yeah, and so, that can happen to with Chiron, right? But it may be, the thing about it is it can be a wound from a long time ago, depending, but we have the South Node here, right, which is being trined. And I will clear the wheel so you can see it better. But the South Node is about the past. It's about what limits us. It's about lack and things that are not helping us grow, things that we need to move away from because we're always trying to, get over here to the North Node to our true potential. So the moon is here conjoined with that South Node, which can be about, sometimes that is past wounds. And my point about Chiron, with some type of a wound, sometimes it can affect us in a subtle way, but it is still holding us back or sabotaging us. Yeah. And Chiron's going to be in Taurus until 2034. And this year it will go retrograde back into Aries on September the 17th, and then back into Taurus April 14th of 2027, which doesn't sound that far away, no, does it? Because, time flies. Um, and so then it will move back into Taurus where it remains until 2033. It's going to have a quick stay in Gemini, and then it will, be back in Taurus until 2034. Okay, so it's like a 7-year transit. All right. Now, for you, uh, so for you, Aries, your sun, moon, and rising. We're gonna talk about the physical first because I'm gonna get into the horoscope right after that because I had left that out, and so I want to talk about that. Chiron's in the second house, and so, but since Taurus rules the throat, the voice, the neck, and the thyroid, and the shoulders, right? So this is in your second house, and it's in Taurus, so maybe there could be something physical there, or just a sensitivity, right? It doesn't have to be a major disease or anything like that. But during the transit of Chiron, these things can go away. Yeah. And so um, it really helps with our awareness and our intuition. It really does, right? Because Chiron was so very intelligent and so aware. Yeah. And so, yeah, and anything regarding your well-being can be, Aries can be like overcome, which is a great thing because the second house is where Chiron is for you, and that is the house of well-being. All right. So, self-worth as well, and it's hard to have well-being without self-worth. At least that's what I think. Right? So Chiron, for you, Aries, Chiron is in your second house. I said that. And your second house is values, or how you value yourself and self-worth, right? Well-being, material comfort, and finance. And this is about your stability and how you value yourself, Aries. Yeah, it is. And so your natal Mars is in Taurus as well, and it's in detriment. And I was saying that in the last video. Um, where is Mars at? And let's go put you on the ascendant right here. I already have you set up. And let's click on Chiron so we can kind of see what's going on with Chiron instead of seeing the whole wheel. All right, so here it is. And yeah, Chiron's in that second house right here. And so this is your house of stability, as I said, and this is how you value yourself. All right, it is your natal. We were talking about your natal Mars. Oh, so yeah, I've already said this, but your natal Mars is in detriment here. And so, but that is a message in itself to you, Aries. I believe it is. All right, it's not in its full power, but that can be simply kind of a like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's uncomfortable here because it's in exile, really. It's in detriment. So that is a message to you itself. I believe it is. Um, It's to show you something, right? And so Venus, the ruler of Chiron, is also ruling your house of relationships, business, and clients. Here it is, your seventh house in Libra, yeah. Um, mm-hmm. And so this is your house of how you create balance and harmony in your own life. And that is related to your well-being, all right? Chiron is making the sextile to the North Node in Pisces. Here is intuitive Pisces, compassionate Pisces, right? And this is in your 12th house, though, your 12th house of endings and release. And that sextile here is giving you an opportunity to let go of things that are, it can be like, self-undoing as well. That is the house of self-undoing, fears and doubts, illusions, things that aren't even, and there's, when we say fear, doubts and fears here, it can be about things that aren't even true, right? And, like worrying about something that never happens. And so, gee, what a drain of energy and, to your own kind of well-being, right? So maybe there could be something going on there for you. And, yes. And so Chiron, yeah, is making that sextile. Um, and this is helping you, inviting you really to follow your to follow your intuition and move toward your higher potential, the North Node, and to let go of anything that hinders that, Aries. And so the sun's sextile to Chiron, and we see it here, right? Yeah, I don't want to do that though. I don't want to invite all these other, let's see here. Yeah, I just don't want to invite those aspects right now. But the sun is sextiling Chiron, is asking you to think and reflect on your values and how you value yourself. Yeah. And the moon and the south node in discerning Virgo. And where is that? It's right here. So we see this beautiful trine here. Um, and that is in your sixth house of health and work, health and wellness and work, and your daily practical affairs. This is your house of habits, uh, and also obstacles. And when we say habits, though, we mean daily routines, all right? So we have the North Node over here, and there is an opposition here between your higher potential and what you need to leave behind in your sixth house, right? I was explaining that, right? So, but this trine to the South Node is supporting you again, moving away from lack or moving away from what limits you, the South Node, while it trines this, is trine sextiles, the North Node is this is our higher potential, where we want to go. We want to move away from the South Node. The moon is here as well. And so yeah, and that um yeah, and so, and you could be moving away. It's possible you're moving away from a different lifestyle altogether when we talk about daily habits and daily affairs, right? Daily like practical matters, or maybe you're doing new work or something now that you are kind of overcoming something, because that is the idea of Chiron, is to overcome a vulnerability or heal a wound, really. Um, yeah, and so, and this is in your, this North Node is in your house of, this is a sensitive house. It's a hidden house. So there's maybe there, you didn't understand this until recent, right? These transits happen and we're like, oh, wow, and so, and that's why they're happening to show us, right? Now, we also have Chiron here, and it is squaring Pluto and Aquarius in your 11th house of future aspirations. Here's the square, the red line. A square is a bit of a challenge. It asks us to make to make an adjustment. And this is transformation, Pluto. It's in your house of future aspirations. And this is also your house of hopes and wishes and gains from the 10th house of career or status, or your social role, and social connections. Maybe you're letting go of some friends here, or you're kind of changing your group of friends, maybe, or different people. That could be the case here, especially with the trine to your sixth house of daily affairs, right? Daily routines and lifestyle. But Pluto is also our power. Yeah, Pluto represents intensity and power. So here it is, uh, Aries, in your 11th house. It sure is. Um, yeah, and so. um, definitely, it wants you to make an adjustment and step into that true power and transform an old wound or an old vulnerability, like move on from it and completely, right? When we have Pluto there with that transformation. Chiron is also squaring Jupiter in your house of home and family, but this is right here, right? Here's Jupiter in Cancer. This is your house of emotional needs, your house of emotional foundation. So whatever Chiron wants you to do here, it is to kind of, like learn to kind of just a more emotional courage and a grounding, right? Jupiter is about growth and expansion, which can definitely help ground us in this fourth house of emotional foundation, right? And interesting too, because Venus is the ruler here. Cancer is about nurturing. And Venus is about well-being, right? The ruler of Chiron in Taurus. So it's kind of asking you kind of to nurture yourself, or whatever you are doing here on the wheel, so to speak, is will help you to grow and expand. But it is asking for some type of to believe in yourself and to believe in your visions, and believe in your own expansion and your higher self. All right. Um, And that square from Chiron to Jupiter, Jupiter wants alignment. It does. It wants us to align with our higher purpose, which is growth and expansion, right? Of course, and wisdom. So this is it wants you to align with your true self and your power. All right, Aries? Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me here. If you liked my comment, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell and you'll be notified of my next upload. And thanks so much, Aries, for watching. And we're going to move to Taurus. And Taurus, so Taurus, in case you missed the intro, you never want to miss the intro because it kind of leads you into your own horoscope, right? But this is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And Taurus, if you want to see timestamps, you can always see them at the top of the comments. But this is, Chiron's moved into your first house or your house of self or your sign, right? And so Chiron is there at 0 degrees. It's just kind of going, oh, I'm here now. And, kind of what do I want to heal or overcome? We could see it like that. And so many of you are going to feel this, right? I have a Taurus moon, so I'm feeling this. I sure am. Um, and so you might feel a need to overcome something. Maybe it's a personal vulnerability because it's in your sign. This is very personal to you. A personal vulnerability that, may have held you back, or where you may have sabotaged yourself sometime in your life, and you're just like it's time to overcome that and rise above, right? And the sun is in your second house of values. Here's your second house in Gemini. And this is intelligent Gemini. This is your house of values, and the sun is making a sextile to Chiron, letting you see an opportunity to value yourself more and what's important to you, to value what's important to you, and to remind you that you deserve security, financial stability, and well-being, and reminding you also, Taurus, to enjoy your life and trust in your talents. Yes, because the sun represents like our self-expression, our talents, our personality, right? And yes, it does. And so yeah, the sun is being ruled by Mercury, and Mercury rules your fifth house of self-expression and talents, you see? So the sun is here being ruled by Mercury, and it rules uh, no, it doesn't rule your fifth house. Oh, let's move you to the, I'm sorry, Taurus, I didn't put you on the ascendant. I beg your pardon. That's why I was like, what? Okay, Taurus, don't get mad, don't go away, right? But here we have the Mercury is ruling Virgo. It rules Gemini, where the sun is. So the ruler of the sun is Mercury, and it is ruling your fifth house of talents, self-expression, yes, and your self-identity and your creative expression. So there's a theme here, right? Chiron is making a trine or we could say the moon is trining. But this is asking you as well with the trine with Chiron and the south node here. This is also your house of fun and pleasure. So maybe, you haven't had as much fun or something because of some wound or something or some kind of sensitivity in your life. Yeah, we want you to have fun, Taurus, all right? Definitely. And this is easier, making it easier for you to move away from whatever has been limiting you, the south node, all right? And the moon is your emotions. It definitely is. And so it's illuminating this as well. All right. This trine here is, making it very easy and favorable or like a flow here for you to move into your power, your creative expression by leaving something behind from the past here, by overcoming it. That's the best, I guess that would be maybe the best way to say that, right? Yeah, and anything that has been limiting you, and that is also the house where Mercury is ruling. This is also the house of love and sex. So this could be about relationships, right? Romantic love. It is about children as well. It sure is. And this is the house of the heart, the house of the ego as well. But that south node there with that trine's helping you. And we have Chiron squaring Pluto in your 10th house of career. Here's your 10th house. Here's little Pluto, right? He looks innocent, but he's really not. No, he's not. But he's powerful. Yeah, he can be very powerful. Pluto represents Scorpio, and in the original chart, and it represents transformation and power and crises. Yeah, so interesting because transformation can be linked to crises, of course, and we don't transform and profoundly change just because things are like easy and we're just floating along day by day, right, on the same cloud. No, it doesn't work like that. And so Pluto where are we with this? Yeah. And Pluto is in your house of career. This is your house of personal agency. So we've already seen down here how you shine your talents and your creative expression. That Chiron is kind of, supporting here. But this Pluto here in this house, this is personal authority, your agency over your own life. It's your achievement. It is your authority and ambition. So here that is, it's also career I mentioned and social roles, like how you show yourself to the world. You're showing yourself to the world in a new way, or you're being asked to do that because the square is a little bit of a challenging aspect, but it is really asking you to make an adjustment, all right? Yes, and it sure is, all right? Okay, Taurus. And if you have any, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning. I don't believe I did. If you have anything going on with your throat, your voice, your neck, or your thyroid, or your shoulders, that could really heal for you when Chiron is in your sign. All right. All right. So let's see what else I have here. Yes, and then we have Chiron is sextiling the north node of higher potential. This is your soul mission. Here it is. It's in your 11th house of future aspirations, social groups, hopes and wishes, and gains, usually from the 10th house of career or status. So look at that. There's an opportunity here for you to kind of raise the bar and move into your higher path. Yeah, and this can have a lot to do with your purpose. It definitely is your soul mission, right? Although we sometimes don't always like see that, but this is where we are all moving, and we are all moving away from the south node. Unless you choose, I'm not saying you are, unless people choose to live in the past, to hold on to these wounds that are, hurting them, for sure, right? These psychological wounds and things like that. All right. And this can help you improve your social connections, your friendships, because you're going to be seeing yourself in some type of a new way here with this Chiron, making a sextile to your 11th house. Yeah, very cool. All right. And let's see what else I have for you, Taurus. Um, yeah. All right, so there is a personal transformation going on here as well. I was talking about Pluto in the 10th house. People may be seeing you differently for sure. Natal Venus, which is the ruler of Chiron, And natal Venus is, ruling the Taurus and also Libra, which uh, which is your sixth house. It rules your first and your sixth. So your sixth house is your work, your health. It is how you run your life on a daily basis. It's your habits, it's your routines, your obligations. It's also a house of obstacles. And it is in Libra, right, which is about it's about relationships, but it is more important, in my opinion, or a little bit maybe, but very important as well, as I should say, is Venus, this here, Libra, is about how we create harmony and balance in our lives. And Taurus is concerned with well-being. So interesting how they are, how they are ruling these houses for you for sure. Venus is showing up um, right here in Leo, and that is in your fourth house of home and family, but this is your house of emotional needs, emotional foundations. So Venus is here in Leo. Leo is the heart. Leo is your talents, right? It's how you show yourself as well to the world, kind of like your 10th, but this is about your self-expression, your personality, how you shine, your talents, your hobbies. And this is the house of the heart. It's romantic love too. Leo is romantic love. So there is definitely there's something going on here about how you shine, definitely, or your talents. And it may have to do with it can also have to do with your romantic relationships. But remember, when we start expressing ourselves with more confidence, and just more personal power, right? Which is, Pluto's in your 10th house. When we do that, we um, we attract we attract people to our lives. We attract, partners and things like that. And now they are looking at us, well, they're seeing us in a different light because we're in a different light. So this is the house where the moon and the south node is with this trine, where you shine is my point. And Leo is all about shining as well. So yeah, it does look really beautiful for you. Taurus, thank you so much for joining me here. If you've liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell and you'll be notified of my next upload. If you want a reading with me, check out the description box below. I do the chart in a very beautiful, empowering way. I sure do. So let's look at Gemini now. And Gemini, this is for your sun, moon, and rising. And Gemini, let's talk about the physical aspect, excuse me, for you with Chiron in, I beg your pardon, you guys, with Chiron in Taurus. And Taurus rules the throat, it rules the voice, the thyroid, the neck, and also the shoulders. Yeah. And Gemini, you rule the shoulders as well, shoulders and arms, and your hands, your fingers, your lungs, and your nervous system. So maybe there is something, there that can, you can overcome it. Could be Chiron is in your 12th house of endings. And Chiron, put you on the ascendant, Gemini. Sorry about that. Here's Chiron in your 12th house. This is a health house itself. It can be, physical health. It's in a physical sign, but it is the 12th house of emotional health. So it could be either way. And Chiron is here. Um, And so, yeah, and the 12th house, Gemini, is ruling the feet and the lymphatic system, which is the fluid that, we all have, and that is supporting our immune, right? As long as it doesn't get stagnant, and then the toxins are sitting there, and, we can get edema and all these kind of things. But this is fluid buildup, right? But that is the 12th house. So maybe there's something there, Gemini, that can go away for you, right? It's a possibility here. Yeah, and this is also the 12th house of unresolved and hidden psychological issues. So, there could be something going on there with Chiron sitting there. All right. So let's get into it, Gemini. And Chiron has entered your 12th, as I said, house of endings and release. Venus is the ruler of Chiron, and Venus is also ruling your fifth house. Here you are on the ascendant, and here is, Libra in your fifth house. And so or your fifth house is in Libra, but this is ruled by Venus here. So that means that there's something about going on about your talents, it's the fifth house, or romantic love, or your self-expression or creative expression. That's the house of the heart, romantic love and sex. It's also about children and having fun. And so Venus is ruling that. Venus is in your third house in Leo. Leo has everything to do with the fifth because Leo rules the sun and the fifth house, or the sun rules Leo rather, excuse me, and the fifth, and Venus is there. So there is something about your talents or your self-expression um, that you're leaving behind some type of a wound or vulnerability that has been hindering, or that has maybe doing it in a very subtle way, because Chiron's in a hidden house. The 12th house is the hidden house. Yeah. And interesting, it's also the house of transcendence. So there's nothing hiding with transcendence, right? You're just completely overcoming everything spiritually. That's really what that's about. And this is also the house of fears. Yeah. Yeah, hopes, not hopes, but fears and illusions and doubts and things like that. There could have been something there where it was kind of hindering your self-expression here, in this 12th house, right? Yeah, and so we talked about that. We did. Yeah, we talked about the health there. All right. So, um, and Venus is the ruler of Chiron. We talked about the fifth house. We did. But it's really helping you. I feel like what Venus is or Chiron is doing is helping you release outdated values, or these old values, like how you valued yourself, right? I have a Gemini rising, so I can understand that. I can understand that. So, I'm not laughing at you, Gemini. I'm more laughing at myself, right? But yeah, and so, and so that's what Chiron in Taurus really wants us to do in the first place, is to really value ourselves, right? All right. So, yeah, Venus is in your third house. Oh, I talked about that in Leo. Yes, I did. And this is your third house where Venus is of thinking, right? I talked about Leo, the sign, but this is your third house of thinking, ideas, plans and goals, skills, communication. This is your intelligence or your rational mind where you're analyzing as well. Um, but it is, also this house of siblings and short distance travel, anything in the immediate environment. For me, it looks like you are kind of leaving behind something that was so familiar to you, or that same value that was so familiar that doesn't serve you, right? Or maybe the way you are doing, maybe it has to do with creative pursuits, right? The fifth house is ruled by Venus here. Creative pursuits that maybe have to do with work. This is also a work house, the third house. It's an early childhood as well. Maybe there was a wound here to, regarding in early childhood. That is highly common. Trust me, it is. In case anybody thinks that, oh no, it's just kind of, I feel funny because, whatever happened. No, super, super common, right? Yeah, nobody. I mean, I used to see, think of like when I was younger, I'd meet people and I go, oh, they kind of have the Brady Bunch family. No, they don't. If you know who the Brady Bunch is, right? All right. So, and this is also, Venus is in this house of willpower. Yeah, which is very good. All right. Um, all right. So, and also we have the sun sextiling Chiron, where it's right here. And the sun is also about your self-expression in your first house. Did I talk about that yet? I don't believe I did. No. And the sun is again your self-expression. Making that sextile to Chiron in your 12th house is an opportunity for you to let go, release these old values or whatever it is for you, Gemini. All right. What we have been basically discussing here. All right. And Chiron, yeah, we were talking about Chiron in your house of fears. This is the house of self-undoing. So, and I was already saying that Chiron can indicate a wound where we sabotage ourselves. And so when Chiron's in the 12th house, yeah, it's probably, worried about stuff that never ever happened, or fears, doubts and fears. I mean, that's what that's about, right? But yeah, I feel like this is very good for you. Chiron is trining the moon and the south node in Virgo. Where's Chiron again? Here it is. I was just saying in the 12th, and it's making the trine. Let's light up the wheel here. Yeah, and remove all that. Here's the trine to the moon and the south node. This is a favorable, very supportive aspect, the trine, because they happen in the same, 95% of the time they're in the same element. They're in earth elements. This is grounding energy. This is supporting this. But it's supporting as well where you are able to walk away from lack or things that limit you when we have the South Node in a trine with Chiron in the 12th house, right? And so this is associated with lack and what limits you in the past. It could be a wounds. It could be, it could be past lives. It can be family issues because past lives are always associated with family. Yeah, it could be a whole bunch of stuff, right? If you ever want to get a past life reading with me, you sure can. They can really help you heal and overcome as well. They sure can. Um, Everything's in the description box. But yeah, the moon is illuminating that. And this is leaving behind and the moon can be about fears. It's definitely about our emotional needs, right? And so, but the moon is illuminating this here. You're leaving behind some type of fears or something that has to do with your self-expression or doubts. Doesn't always have to be fears. Could be doubts, right? And yeah, and that is in your fourth house of emotional needs. It's in discerning and analytical Virgo. Remember, Virgo discerns everything because Virgo wants things to be better. Virgo represents refinement. So yeah, so that's a good thing here, and that is your natal ruler, Mercury. Definitely is. You share that with Virgo. And you could be, it's possible here that you are healing something physical that was caused by something emotional. And I talked about these physical manifestations that we can have that can now be healed, or I mentioned that there's this I mean, I'm not guaranteeing anybody's healing out there, but I'm saying that, it can, right? It can be. And so, but this 12th house it is the house of self-undoing where we can think up our own stuff and it can manifest in the physical body, yeah, in our body, because we're worried. And this is also the house of illusions. So, just thinking about stuff that's not even there, right? Being fooled. This is a very naive, it's a hidden house. And so, something emotional could go away now, I'm saying, or physical. Yeah, because, Chiron is in a physical sign, but it's making a trine to another physical sign. But I'm only saying that these emotional things like worry and doubt and self-undoing and things like that can really cause physical ailments. They sure can, all right? I mean, stress is, we all know that stress can cause disease, right? Yeah, I think we know that. All right, and so, and Mercury, the ruler of the North Node and the Moon, South Node, I beg your pardon, is in Cancer. It's a nurturing Cancer. So this is like understand where you really need to nurture yourself in your second house of well-being. You see, this is asking you to think about it. This is your natal ruler, Mercury. So it's important for you in your second house of nurturing Cancer and in your house of the sign of Cancer, but in your house of well-being. All right. Um, and so now we have Jupiter here. Yeah. And let's look at Jupiter here. Um, and we'll talk about Chiron real quick here, though, and sextiling this 10th house of career for you. Look at that. And that's beautiful because there's an opportunity for you, Gemini, to step into your career, to step into your power, to step into your true authority here. And that's what this Pluto is about over here as well, to your ninth house. This is, to your ninth house of growth and expansion and higher purpose. But this is kind of pushing you to do this, or say, the squares are to make an adjustment. They're a little challenging. But the sextile to the North Node here, this is definitely offering you You're moving into like a higher version of yourself. It does really look like that. And that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me here, Gemini. If you liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I'll be back with another video. And so for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, let's see what we have in terms of the physical aspect. And so Taurus, I always have to mention this because Taurus is connected to the rules the throat. I talked about it earlier, but I don't know if you missed that, right? So Taurus rules the throat and the shoulders, the voice, the neck, and the thyroid, right? That's why Taurus are, singers. Yeah, they can be. All right. So, yeah, and so you, Cancer, you rule the lungs, the breasts, and the chest, and the stomach, and the pancreas. All right. So, and Chiron is in your 11th house, which is really ruling ankles, calves, veins, and circulation system. So there's a lot there, but if there is something there, I know that Cancerians can be sensitive with their lungs and also asthma and just stuff like that. So maybe there's something that is definitely going away. And so for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Chiron entered Taurus into your 11th house of future aspirations, friends, and social connections. This is your house of hopes and wishes and gains from your house of career or your status. Excuse me. And the Sun is in intelligent Gemini. It's in smart Gemini, right? Or analytical Gemini, making a sextile to Chiron and from your 12th house of endings and release. Yeah, let's put you on the ascendant. That would definitely help, right? You're like, why is she there? Why is she on Gemini still? Let's find you here, Cancer. And here you are. Okay, I beg your pardon. Okay, so I was talking about the sun. It's in your 12th house of you see something that has to end. It's in your house of endings and release. You're definitely seeing it. All right. Excuse me. And it's making the sextile to Chiron in your 11th house. So you know you have to let go of something in order for you to move forward or towards your future aspirations or just into the future with more power, right? Maybe more health, because Chiron is associated with our health, mental or physical. Yes. And so that's right. And we have the moon here as well. And the moon is making the trine, right? The moon is making the trine to Chiron. The moon is in your third house of thinking and ideas. So this is what you're doing. You're thinking about your future and you're going, I got to let something go in order for me to move forward with more agency or with more, with more power, really, because we also have Chiron making us a square to Pluto, and Pluto is power. Let's see what else I have here along in with these. And the 12th house where the sun sits, making that sextile to Chiron, this is a health house. This is the house of addictions, Cancer. It's also the house of um, mental health, right? I mean, addictions is associated with mental health, isn't it? This is the house of self-undoing. So you're seeing possibly something that you need to let go of, definitely here to move forward. You're seeing it with the sun there, right? The sun, where's the sun? The sun is ruling your second house of well-being. Look at that. But that is for you, right? And that's what we're talking about here with Taurus. Taurus rules self-worth and well-being. And the sun is being ruled by Mercury. Mercury is ruling that third house of thinking. That's what I was saying. Mercury is showing up where's little Mercury at? It's in your house, in your first house. Yeah, little Mercury with the hat on. So Mercury is always thinking. That's why he has his thinking cap on, right? Venus is not, where's Venus? She's not worried about thinking here. She's being too feminine and intuitive and, perhaps creative. Yeah, exactly. So Venus is like, okay, you do the work here, the mental work, right? And yeah, Venus is making peace and harmony and, making love and all that type of stuff, right? Now, Mercury is in your first house, and, it is in this conjunction with Jupiter. Jupiter wants you to grow and expand. It rules your ninth house of growth and expansion. And it's here in this conjunction, right, with Mercury, which is being ruled by the sun. The sun is very important in this reading because the sun is still in Gemini, and right, we're in Gemini season while this happens on the 19th. The sun moves into your sign the very next day, so that's highly interesting for me. And so, and Jupiter here, we also have Chiron making a sextile to the north node of higher potential, your life mission, your soul mission, or your soul's, I like to say your soul's mission. And this is, definitely a higher purpose for you. It's in Jupiter ruled Pisces, and Jupiter is ruling your sixth house of work. So, but this is your sixth house of how you run your life, right? How your lifestyle, your routines, is your life running smoothly? Uh, you know, it looks like, that Chiron is making a trine to Lilith as well. Wow. Okay. So, and, this is your sixth house of health and wellness and work. And yes, it's very interesting here. There's actually an opposition with the sun and the trine here. Yeah, that's an opposition. It sure is. Wow. Oh, just not showing up here because we're looking at Chiron more. But this is Black Moon Lilith here in your sixth house of daily practical matters, your obligations, your routines, and obstacles. Chiron's making that trine to help you face something about your shadow side. Excuse me, Cancer. We all have one, right? All right. Yeah, there's something that you're letting go of that is hindering you moving into the future with more personal power, more well-being. Yeah, so you're like you're getting rid of it. You definitely are. And Chiron is making that square to Jupiter. Yeah, I didn't talk. Did I talk about that? I don't feel like I did, but Chiron's in your 11th house, making the square to Jupiter, and inviting you, or not really inviting you, deeply encouraging you um, to to make an adjustment about and kind of make an adjustment and understand the wisdom that life is trying to teach you, and move into your, expand, move into your growth, move into your higher purpose. That's what that is, right there. All right. And so now we have, yeah. And so we talked about Mercury letting you analyze things well. And we also have Chiron making a square to Pluto. So Pluto, I didn't mention this yet. Pluto's in your eighth house of transformation. That for me, that's highly, and Pluto's going to be there a very long time. So, I mean, Cancerians can be kind of going through a gradual transformation for years. Yeah, because it will be there so long. But Chiron is from your house of future aspirations, squaring Pluto in your eighth house of transformation. And Pluto represents crises, it represents, secrets and power as well. But it represents that transformation. And this is your eight, it's in the eighth house of transformation. So this is definitely encouraging you, deeply encouraging you, kind of compelling and challenging you a little bit to make an adjustment for change that will support your future aspirations, or you moving forward itself. You could also be moving away from addictions here. I talked about that a little bit. This is how 12th house of self-undoing, where the sun sextiles Chiron. Chiron's also in your house of, social groups and social connections. You might be realizing who's not good for you. And this has been kind of a theme, Cancer, that from what I've seen, with the astrology in recent days, all right, recent weeks, and, months. All right. And so, yeah, and so yes, let's see what else I might have for you here. Yeah, and this is also the house of not just transformation, but regeneration. It's also the house of where you see psychological issues very deeply. You're able to see, it's a hidden house, what maybe you couldn't see before, and you're like, whoa, wow, a little bell goes off, things like that, all right? Um, but yeah, this is helping you. Chiron is really helping you, Cancer, move into the future with a deeper understanding of yourself, your goals, and what truly inspires you, all right? So thank you so much, Cancer, for joining me here today. If you liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the little bell so you can be notified of my next upload. And now for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and we will move you on we're going to move you onto the ascendant, right? And here you are, Leo, and no wonder they have you in red here because you do represent the heart. You sure do. And so Leo, for you, um, let's talk about the health manifestations or the health aspects that can happen because Chiron rules health, but it can be mental or physical or emotional or physical. It really can. Or mental health is correct, right? And let's look here what I have for you, Leo. Um, and so, okay, so remember that Taurus rules the throat, the voice, the neck, the thyroid, and the shoulders. And Leo rules the heart, the spine, and the back. So, there could be something that heals physically, possibly, and the heart, interesting about the heart because, when you have a spine, when they use that expression, oh, kind of get a backbone, right? It really means kind of, have a heart, like, trust, like be, have a heart, like live with heart. That's really what that means. So, hopefully it's not a broken heart, Leo. I'm teasing right now, right? But and Chiron is in your 10th house, which rules bones, joints, and gallbladder. All right, so here's Chiron. Yeah, it is. All right, so let's get into this, Leo, for Sun, Moon, and Rising. Yeah, and Chiron, we just talked. Oh, Chiron is in your 10th house of career in Taurus, right? In your 10th house. And Taurus, interesting, excuse me, in the 10th house of career. Taurus is like well-being. So I feel like Venus is ruling this 10th house. I feel like that's very good for you. It sure is. All right. So yeah, Chiron has entered your 10th house. This is your house of career, but this is also your house of personal agency, the authority and ambition that you take in your own life. It's your reputation sometimes, or your status, or simply your role if you're not working, right? If you're retired, you're not working. But that's your role and how you show yourself to the world, right? Or how others see you as well. And so we have your natal sun sextiling Chiron, and here's the sun right here and making that sextile to Chiron. So the sun is in the 11th house of future aspirations. So you're looking at this like, well, I can like, you're either overcoming something or you're going to, or Chiron is trying to help you do that, really. Right? And the sun is in this house of future aspirations, making a sextile your house to your house of career or authority and ambition. So this is like Chiron's helping you. You're seeing something that there's some type of sensitivity for you that's been maybe kind of hindering you regarding your career or regarding your own authority over your own life, your social role. Maybe you've been accepting some type of social role that you don't want anymore. I mean, it could be marriage, it could be you don't want to be, a teacher anymore. You want to be, I don't know, a karate instructor or something like that, right? I mean, it can be anything. But yeah, we have that sextile there. And this is an opportunity for you to move forward by seeing something about your own authority or how you show yourself to the world, right? Your own authority over your own life. All right. So, God, there's these kids. Let me close this window here because these kids are having a party, like a summer party in the yard, and it's kind of not that close, but you can hear them really loud. There's a lot of them. Okay. So, wow. And they are screaming. Let me shut this other window. I beg your pardon, Leo. Yeah, they're screaming with fun. They're having so much fun over there. Um, and they're really nice kids. Okay. So, where are we on this? Yeah. Um, And this is also your house of like-minded people. It's possible that you see that some people can help you here as well. Or a group of people or somebody or some people like somebody who's like-minded, maybe a friend, but it doesn't have to be, can kind of help you here. But or maybe you kind of didn't take the help of somebody. That could be the case here. But whatever you're doing here, Chiron is helping you move forward. It definitely is. But there's some type of wound about your authority here or a sensitivity. Doesn't have to be a big wound or a vulnerability about how you show yourself to the world or the authority over your own life. You could be saying simply, I'm going to take full control over my life right now. That's a possibility, which is always a good thing, right? And so everything is a cycle in life, right? So, if you're going through something hard, it does end. It sure does. All right. And the sun is in intelligent Gemini. Yeah, you see what I mean? And this is ruled by Mercury, of course, the planet of intelligence. Um, Yes, yeah, there's a definitely there with the sun in your house of future aspirations, making that sextile to Chiron, Leo. There's an opportunity for you to see yourself with more personal power, more authority, and to see yourself in a better light, okay? And to value yourself more, right? We don't want to forget about Taurus. Taurus means value, right? Um, yeah, you may be seeing that by, yeah, and that can help you do that. So, and this could be something that you are maybe you want to move into a particular career and you might be seeing it for the long term. This could be helping you to become more serious about something or more disciplined as well, because that's what the 10th house is. All right. So we have Venus here, Mercury rather. Mercury's ruling the sun as well, and Mercury is ruling. Um, where am I? Mercury is, oh, it's in your, I beg your pardon, it's ruling this 11th house of the future and your second house of well-being. We're talking about your well-being because Taurus represents well-being and how you value yourself and, what you value in your life. So we're already talking about that. And Mercury is ruling this house. But Mercury is in your 12th house of endings and release and self-undoing and doubts and fears and just all this stuff where, it's also a house of intuition and transcendence. That's great. But when we're talking about Chiron, we're talking about you trusting your intuition and letting go of some type of vice or addiction. It doesn't have to be, but some type of self-undoing, right? We can practice self-undoing in very subtle ways that can really kind of hinder us, right? We can't. It doesn't have to be a full-on addiction or you're drinking. It doesn't really have to, it doesn't have to be anything like that, right? This is the house of emotional health. It sure is. And so, that's what Mercury is showing you. It's showing you have to let something go. It definitely is in order to move into your full well-being or right? And so now, um, let's see what else I have for you. Mercury is in Cancer. Yeah, so that's your 12th house, but Mercury's in nurturing Cancer. So it's asking you to nurture yourself. That's really what it's doing here. This is nurturing has to do with, it definitely has to do with valuing yourself, right? And we're talking about that, as I mentioned. Yeah. All right. So, and Mercury is in Cancer. It's being ruled by the moon. And Chiron is making a trine to the moon and the south node, right? And that's right here. So here's Chiron, or the moon is making the moon and the node, the south node. And the moon is, is illuminating something here about your well-being, but it's telling you to move away from lack or limiting yourself or not valuing yourself enough because it's in that second house, all right? And it's in discerning Virgo. So Virgo, Virgo knows what's up. They do, right? Because Virgo rules refinement and discernment, all right? So we have that, we have the trine to your 10th house of agency, personal agency and authority over your own life, career and status and, social roles, all right? Yeah, that's beautiful. And that trine is in that second house of well-being, value, how you value yourself. This is also the house of self-worth, of course, um, and also finance and material comfort, right? If you have something physical, oh, we talked about the physical already, but um, if you have, I guess maybe I'll go over this. I don't know if I went over it with you, Leo. I think I did, yeah. But maybe if you have something that is related to the gastro, Virgo is about the gastrointestinal, the whole gastrointestinal system. Yeah. And so the digestive system, yeah. And so if you have something going on there, it could really heal. um, Kaiser, not Kaiser, but excuse me, I'm talking about the doctors now, or the hospital. And Chiron, I just said that. Chiron is sextiling the north node of higher purpose and true potential in your house of transformation. Let's look at that. Look how beautiful. So here we have Chiron making the sextile to this higher potential. Some people will call this fate and destiny because we're always moving there, even if it's conscious or not. So it is what we is our it's our life, our soul's mission, and so it's making this giving you an opportunity or a chance. You have to be aware of it. You really do. Because the sextile is a social aspect or configuration. It is. It's a 60 degree aspect here. And that is from your 10th to your, this house of transformation. This is the house of regeneration. It's the house where you're able to see what was hidden. It's in a hidden sign too. It's in Pisces. What was hidden before, what was not shown to you. And this is about your intuition. And this is also a house of crises and secrets and fears as well, but it is a house of power and regeneration. So this also has to do with this eighth house has to do with intimate relationships, any type of close relationship, the money, shared assets, and other people's money, which can be, inheritance and stocks and bonds and the bank account you have with your husband, or, it's a long list, right? But the square is here, and the square is asking you to make an adjustment, Leo. It is. So that adjustment here to make things better for you, excuse me. And, this is transformation, right? We were talking about this, but now we're talking about the square here, because the North Node is in your house of transformation. So there's an opportunity for you to move towards your higher calling once you kind of, uh, once you release something. Yeah, Mercury's ruling the sun. It's in your 12th house. Wow. And Jupiter is also, let's talk about Pluto though, because we were on Pluto. We were. And so the square to Pluto, I was starting to talk about that, is in your seventh house of relationships. Now, it's in future-oriented Aquarius, but the square is asking you to change something, to transform something. It can be how you relate to others, how you create harmony and balance, maybe in your own life. It doesn't always have to be with others, right? But our relationships are important. That is also your house of business and clients and opponents and legal matters, all right? But that square here to Pluto is in um, Saturn ruled, Aquarius, and Saturn is in your ninth house of growth and expansion. So Chiron is like, it's all about your growth and expansion and moving into your higher purpose. It sure is. And so Jupiter, let's talk about Jupiter here. Um, Jupiter is ruling your eighth house here in Pisces, right? Jupiter rules Pisces and Sagittarius. And so it's ruling that eighth house. And it's being squared by Chiron. No, I didn't talk about this yet. Here's the square, also asking you to make an adjustment and let something go that is like, it looks like it's kind of hindering your growth and expansion, because that's what Jupiter is, right? Your higher purpose. So that square is also, inviting you, or really kind of deeply encouraging, maybe challenging even. That's what a square is, kind of an inner tension a little bit, but to let go of something over here that's no longer good for you, right? Yeah, that is standing in the way of Chiron's in your house of authority and ambition, as I said, all right? The agency you rule over your own life and your career, all right? Yeah. And so, and this is also interesting, a hidden house. So it's possible that you were not able to see that before until now, right? And that's the way life is. Things are shown to us at the time that we can understand them, right? The teacher shows up when you're ready, right? That's how it works. So, yeah. And so, and this Jupiter here is also in your house of addictions, self-undoing, doubts and, doubts and fears, illness, and, all these kind of things that are, but it does rule endings. This house is about endings and release. So it's asking you to nurture yourself and let something go. It's a nurturing Cancer, all right? So you can move into your true power, and that's what Pluto is over here about your true power. It sure is. All right. So, and this is about you being authentic, Leo. And why do I say that? Because the sun is your ruling luminary. It's not really a planet. It's in your house of future aspirations. So, making the sextile to Chiron. So this is asking you to shine, be authentic, be who you really are. And Jupiter's here releasing in the house of endings, of self-undoing, but it's Jupiter is ruling your fifth house of talents. Yeah, and so this is authenticity as well. Yeah, you're in, the fifth house is the house of the heart. Act from the heart, be authentic, and step into your talents. And I feel like that's what this can be, uh, asking you to do. All right. I find it to be very interesting. I do. Um, yeah, and yes, and Venus, I didn't talk about this, but Venus is ruling Chiron here in Taurus. Venus is ruling your third house of thinking. So this is about your ideas. This is about you analyzing and understanding kind of really what you need to do. All right. So thanks so much, Leo, for joining me here today. If you've liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and I'll be back with another video. If you want a reading with me, I really get deep about the chart, not just your personality and your soul gifts. Yeah, that's in there, but I get real deep. It's a very rich and cathartic experience with the chart. So my website is below in the description box. Thank you so much, Leo, for joining me here today. And let's now move into Virgo. Okay, for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And so, Virgo, for you, regarding the physical manifestation, the physical aspect of Chiron, right? And so, of course, it could be any of the Taurus issues, the throat, anything, the voice, the thyroid, and also the shoulders. Yeah, that is Taurus. Now, you rule the digestive system, so maybe something can, get better there or, be overcome or healed, of course. And then we have Chiron's in your ninth house, and that is the hips and the thighs and the liver. So yeah, so let's get right into it now, Virgo. And Virgo is in your ninth house of meaning and purpose and growth and expansion, all right? And it's making a trine to the moon and the south node in your sign. And you can see I have the chart up right here. And here you are on the ascendant, so you're able to see that if you so wish. Now, here we see the moon, and it is in a conjunction, a tight conjunction with the South Node. So this is very kind of, this is a little emotional, but the moon is illuminating something here. Chiron is helping to kind of bring it to light. Yeah, but Chiron there is with that trine. Um, this is very beautiful, right? It is something favorable where you can leave something behind here, move away from lack. The South Node is associated with everything that is either of the past or like it's so familiar that we need to grow, we need to move into our higher selves. So that's what the South Node is. It can be wounds, it can be actually family wounds, past lives, because this is a node, it's a point. The lunar node, the moon is associated with the past, and that is a lunar node. All right, and the mother, so the moon, right? So that means that this can be associated with past lives, all right? If you need a past life reading with me, they're very empowering. They are, and they can help you heal. They can help you overcome. All right. So everything's in the description box below. But this trine, a trine is something very supportive and flowy. And so you can leave something behind here, Virgo. You sure can. And it's something personal because it's in your first house. All right. Um, and Venus is the ruler of Chiron, and it's in Leo. And let's look at Venus in your 12th house of endings and release. So definitely you're ending something here. You're letting something go. Venus is in Leo. Leo is the sign of the heart, right? It's the sign of love and sex and, romantic love. It's also about children, which is, of the heart as well, and our talents and what we're good at. And again, of the heart. So that's Leo here, Venus and Leo, and Venus is ruling your ninth house of growth and expansion where Chiron sits, and Venus is ruling Libra as well, and that is in your second house of well-being. Now, Taurus itself has everything to do with well-being, right? Venus does. So this is definitely whatever you're leaving behind is clearly for your own well-being, your stability, and it is something that is associated with your values. You may have new values. You may value yourself in a different way. All right. And Venus is in the house of endings and release and the house of self-undoing. The house of illusions and fears, yes, and kind of it's a hidden house, so there may be something about yourself that you didn't understand, and now Chiron, here comes Chiron, boom, and now there's a major clarity there, right? Now Venus too is about romantic love, and it's not, and it is about our, our self-worth and what we value. Not, it's about money as well, right? It rules. Taurus is money. So, so there you go. But it is definitely associated with values, especially how Venus rules your second house of value. Yeah. So, now, yeah, and the trine here is from your ninth house is creating a flow for you, bringing an ease and a flow for you to reach for what is truly matters to you. The ninth house is what is meaningful to us. Yeah, what brings meaning and purpose to you. Chiron is helping you overcome. You could have been like kind of just not really reaching for really what you wanted, Virgo. That could be the case here, all right? And somewhere you might have felt guilt, not having what brought you that meaning or purpose somewhere. Yeah, because Chiron could be showing you that. Chiron, remember, if you watch the intro, Chiron is can, talk about how we sabotage ourselves in our lives. And, with all the charts that I've done, trust me, it is true. Yeah, it is. Even if it's in a subtle, it can be a major way, it can be a subtle way, because the chart is teaching us karmic lessons. It is, and that is done with the nodes. Well, it's done with the whole chart, but the nodes are seriously or considerably contributing to that, right? Yeah, and so now we have Mercury. Let's talk about Mercury here. You could have been doing something, Virgo, that was holding you back. That was the point I was getting to. And not letting you live, with true purpose or meaning. Yeah, and really what you want, what matters, right? And so, your natal Mercury, let's see here. Natal Mercury is ruling the moon and the south node in your sign, of course. And natal Mercury's in your 11th house of future aspirations. Everything you're doing here is for your future, and you're leaving something from the past or getting over it. And so Mercury is here in that 11th house of future aspirations. That's also the house of people that we align ourselves with or people that we identify with. So maybe there's something going on there and you don't identify with the same. It can be the same people, but it can be the same type of people. It can be the same type of romantic interest with Venus ruling Venus in Leo. It can definitely. And mhm, Mercury is ruling the sun as well. The moon, the south node, and the sun. Uh, Yeah, and so Mercury is, the sun is in Gemini, and you and Gemini share Mercury. And so, yeah, it's a big deal right now. It is Mercury. And Mercury is our information, it's our intelligence, right? Mercury wants us to be smart. It definitely does. Um, and where Mercury is in your 11th house of the future, it's telling you to nurture yourself. It's telling you to be kind to yourself as you do whatever you are doing here, Virgo. All right? Um, for sure. And let's talk about now Chiron is making that sextile, um, is making a sextile to the North Node in Pisces. Pisces is over here in your seventh house. Let's highlight Chiron right here. That's what we do. And here is Chiron and making the sextile to the North Node. The North Node is where we're going. It is our higher potential. It is, in a deep sense, in a very real sense, it is our soul's mission. Excuse me. So here we have Chiron making that sextile, and this can be our true potential as well, our fate and destiny, but it is where we are going, and we are moving away from the South Node. And the trine is helping you do that, but the sextile is an opportunity that you have to engage in yourself, Virgo. You have to like kind of want um, to kind of reach for whatever this is in your chart, right? Whatever Chiron is helping you overcome. So this is to your seventh house. The seventh house is partnerships of all kinds. It can be business and clients. That's also a partnership, right? Clients. But it is also your house, for me, kind of more importantly, is where you create harmony and balance in your own life. So whatever you're doing here, it is for your well-being. It sure is, and that's very clear with the horoscope for you, Virgo. All right. Now, the North Node is this can be an opportunity that you have to engage in the sextile. The North Node is in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter rules your fourth house of emotional needs. Chiron is trining your fourth house of emotional needs. It's trining. Um, that's a very loose trine here. It is. Oh no, it's trining no, it's not very loose here. No, not at all. It is trining, I beg your pardon, you guys. But it is trining, excuse me, this is part of fortune. Now, not necessarily money, Virgo, but part of fortune is how we thrive. Everything here is helping you do that, right? And you'll notice here it's kind of grayed out, but here we have um Lilith, Black Moon Lilith. So there's something about your shadow that you're facing as well. Yeah. It's been in Sagittarius for a while. That's at 20 degrees and it will move into Capricorn. Um, I'm not sure exactly the transit of Lilith, but it's here and it's been there for a little while. All right. I think it's a couple months. That's where I think Lilith will stay in one sign. So anyway, but we have that sextile to, this Jupiter ruled north node of fate and destiny and higher potential. And Sagittarius is ruling, Jupiter is ruling that fourth house of emotional needs. Now, Jupiter itself is in your 11th house in a conjunction with your natal Mercury. It's in an alliance with Mercury, right? They're working together. They are. Mercury is the brains, and Jupiter is the um, kind of the wisdom, if you will, or the growth and expansion. This is, my higher purpose, right? So Mercury, here's little Mercury. He's got his hat on, right? Because he's a student, basically, and he is working here and they're helping one another. But Jupiter is in this 11th house of future aspirations. Everything you're doing here is for the future. It sure is. And let's look at Chiron because Chiron squares Jupiter. And so Chiron, this square is a little bit of a challenge in coming from your ninth house of growth and expansion and wisdom. This is the ninth house of Jupiter, ruled by Venus here, right? Because, this is in Taurus. And this is about your values. This is like pushing you, kind of pushing because a square is a little challenging, but it's asking you to make an adjustment in your life um, and reach for what is truly meaningful for you, Virgo, so you can move into the future. Um, just with more meaning and more purpose for sure. All right. Um, and remember I said too, this Jupiter is in Cancer. It's exalted in Cancer. It's very powerful here. And Cancer is nurturing. So this is about, and this is nurturing your own emotional needs. That has to do with your growth and expansion. That is fueling or supporting your growth and expansion, right? Um, yeah. And so, yeah, there we go. All right. So we talked about that square. Um, yeah, we talked about the trine here to your first house. That's very beautiful here, Virgo, and it looks really good for you. So if you've enjoyed this today, Virgo, please like, share, and subscribe and hit the little bell. And I'll be back with another video. If you want a reading with me, my charts are so deep. Yeah, they are. And they show you what you think you don't know, what you don't know, but you think you might know. I forgot how the expression goes, right? Thanks so much for joining me here, Virgo. So let's get into Libra now. And yeah, let's put Libra on the ascendant. And here you are, Libra. Let's lock you in, though. Yeah. Okay, here you are. And here is, let's see what we have for you. Let's talk about the health, the potential, right? Or, uh, kind of the rulerships here about you, Libra. All right. So we talked about Taurus many times, especially if you're cross-watching different signs. Taurus rules the throat, anything in the throat, thyroid, the voice. It also rules your shoulders. Yeah. So for you, though, Libra, you rule the adrenal glands, the kidneys, yes, and the derrieres. All right. It says buttocks here, but I'll use the word derriere, right? And so Chiron is in your eighth house. That rules your reproductive system. And right, and it sure does. And your elimination organs, which are the kidneys, the lungs, the skin, and the liver. All right. So let's see what else I have for you, at least psychologically here, right, Libra? Chiron is in your eighth house of transformation. And this is the house of, right here, this is the house of intimate relationships, not necessarily sex, although it can be. This is shared assets and other people's money. This is the money you earn with somebody, a partner, a spouse, even, a family member, it also can be like kind of, 401ks, investments, real estate, things like that. All right. So, yeah. And that is a hidden house as well. So Chiron in a hidden house, which are the fourth, the eighth, and the 12th. Chiron in a hidden house can show you something that you've kind of been maybe sabotaging yourself, about, excuse me, you guys, or kind of holding on to something that is a vulnerability or a sensitivity. So it can show you that now. It can be illuminated right in that hidden house. All right. So this is also the house of intuition. Also the occult. Astrology is considered the occult. Intuition is, still kind of considered that. I think it is. Psychic ability. And this is also secrets and crises. Yeah. So that is a very interesting house. It sure is. Um, yeah. And and natal Venus is the ruler of Chiron here. And it is ruling your house of self. Yeah, it is Libra right here, right? Because you and Taurus share Venus as a ruler, although you're more about love and beauty and creativity. Taurus is about, excuse me, well-being, values, and material comfort, money and possessions and things like that, right? Yeah, you're more about love uh, and what I was saying. We have Venus there. And ruling your first house, and Venus is in your 11th house. So here's Venus showing up in Leo. Venus in Leo is definitely about love. It can also be about making money with your talents, or it can be about believing in yourself as well, and shining. Really, this can be about it can also be about taking good care of yourself, kind of through through, recreational activities or like exercise and stuff like that. But it's really kind of taking care of yourself by being authentic to who you truly are. That is the house of, not the house, but Leo is the house of, is the sign of the heart. All right. Yeah. And so it rules the ego and it rules your talents and how you shine. Your own authenticity, like how you, right? Because it is ruled by the sun, kind of your, can be your social personality and sometimes your career. But Venus there is in a good spot. It's in your 11th house of future aspirations, and it's also the house of like-minded people. So this is friends or social people, social groups that you connect with, right? Um, it's also your house of hopes and wishes. Maybe you have some hopes and wishes here. Definitely, everybody does. Or and gains that come from the 10th house. And remember, Venus is about money, so may have to do with something that is regarding money. Taurus, it's in Taurus. Your 8th house is a money house as well, so this can be about something. Chiron can be helping you overcome something about money. Chiron and Taurus can talk about sometimes we don't value ourselves enough to think that we deserve financial stability or a lot of money, right? Or, or wealth, and we all do, right? Of course we all do. Let's see what else I have here for you. And the sun is in Gemini, thinking and intelligent Gemini, right? Yeah. And so we're all kind of thinking during Gemini season. Yeah, we are. And in your ninth house of growth and expansion, this is your house of meaning and higher purpose and wisdom. And so there's some type of major change that has to do with your work or your health or your health or your wellness, because Chiron is um, making a sextile to your sixth house here. So, and this is, the North Node, and this is, also your soul's mission. It's where you're going. It's your higher purpose as well. It's your true potential. But it is where we're all going, consciously or not, unless you are, definitely trying to block yourself and, your future. I'm not saying that you are, I'm just explaining this, right? Now, it's in your sixth house of health and wellness. And that's why I'm saying that. So there could be something physically, this is the physical health. The sixth house, the 12th house is more mental health, but they can kind of, switch off with each other, if you will, right? Like kind of borrow from one another. It's a nicer way to say it. And so it's in Pisces. This is also the house of work and service. I mean, I mentioned work, I believe, but this is your house of daily affairs, your habits. So maybe there is something, some new habits, your daily routines, and you could be trying to just kind of organize your life, your lifestyle, and Chiron is helping you see something where maybe you're accepting something less in your daily life, right? That you're no longer going to do, right, Libra? Right. So, right, everybody? Yeah, about Chiron, right? So yeah, and so yeah, and that's also the house of obstacles. So there's an opportunity to definitely heal something. As I was saying, it can be related to health as such, but it can be the health of anything, the health of your lifestyle, your daily life, or anything else, right? Yeah, and okay, maybe you're looking for better work that is healthier for you as well. That could be the case. And the North Node is in Pisces, and this is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter rules your third house of thinking. Remember, the sun is in, intelligent Gemini, right? So we're all thinking in some way during Gemini season because it rules thinking. So, and then, when the sun moves into Cancer, we may be more focused on nurturing or home and family, right? Yeah. So here we have, excuse me, I was talking about Jupiter, and Jupiter is ruling your third house of thinking. This is ideas, plans, and goals. It is also your willpower, what you like to learn about and study, and all this type of stuff. This is also a business house. It's about documents, things like that, and our communication. It rules siblings as well, to, every house has so much is full, right? Yeah, there's a full house here. Siblings and also the immediate environment. And, it's making a trine to Chiron's trining part of fortune. And when Chiron trines part of fortune in that house, um, and Jupiter's ruling your sixth house of daily affairs. There's something about how you thrive here that, Chiron wants you to, heal something or overcome. And it's showing you how you can thrive. And Jupiter is in this Jupiter house, in your house of thinking and ideas and things like that, goals. But Jupiter's ruling this sixth house of your daily affairs. There's something going on here with those sixth house themes. As I said, work, health, or your daily lifestyle, your life day in and day out that's going on, right? Um, so Jupiter is ruling your third and your sixth house. So Jupiter itself is in your 10th house of career. So, but this is also your house, not just career, it's your house, your social role and how people see you. It can be considered kind of a house of respect. It sort of can because it rules authority and ambition, right? The authority we wield over our own lives. It's like when you get serious and you mature, and you either go after a career or you take full control of your life. It's also the house of how others classify us, how they see us. That's what I was talking about, respect, sort of, right? And status. So there could be something you want to show yourself to the world in a different way. It could be to people who are in your daily life, maybe family and things like that, right? Um, yeah, and so we have Chiron is making a square, Libra, to your 10th house to Jupiter. And Jupiter is your higher calling. Jupiter is your what's meaningful for you. It represents growth and expansion and purpose. So there's something here that you're going to be growing that has to do with either your social role, how you show yourself to other people, or your career, all right? This is a very important house. It sure is, right? And it's ruled by the moon. It's right. Jupiter is being ruled by the moon here. It's in Cancer, and the moon is in your 12th house. So you're leaving something behind here in order to grow, and Chiron is helping you see that. All right. Yeah, very cool, right? Um, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so let's see if I haven't missed anything. I've been off the notes completely here. And also, yeah, we were talking about yeah, and something may not change here with that, with the moon and the trine. Let's look here. Yeah, right here to your 12th house. I don't think I talked about this too much, but Mercury is ruling this 12th house, right? It's ruling the sun. Mercury's in your 10th house of career and your social roles, how you show yourself to your authority over your own life, right? Show yourself to other people or to the world. And that trine to Chiron, I mean, from Chiron over here to the moon, and the south node, this is you're moving away from lack, or something that you kind of was limiting you. It's in the 12th house of, this is the house of self-undoing, where we kind of, like kind of jinx it's not a jinx, but how we do things to ourselves that don't serve us, right? Oh, why did I do that? That's not good. I mean, it's also the house of addictions, right? But self-undoing, fears and illusions. Maybe you were realizing I don't need to be afraid of anything here. That could be the case, right? I don't, why should I be afraid of anything? Or why should I doubt myself as well? All right. And this is about lack, this south node, or what limits you, the past, some type of conditioning. It can be related to childhood and wounds or whatever, right? It can, all those things that like can limit us, but you're moving away from it, and Mercury's ruling that house. Mercury rules your ninth house of growth and expansion. So, yeah, and so this, you're valuing yourself more. That's what you're doing here, and nothing will change until you release this. Uh, uh, excuse me, Libra, because Chiron is in the house of transformation, which is the death, right? Endings and new beginnings. This is transformation and regeneration, and it is trining your 12th house. And this is also a house of the past. It's a house of mental health as well. Whatever you're doing here is helping your well-being. And Chiron is in Taurus, which is about well-being. All right. So you're doing something great here. Chiron is also squaring. This is going to bring you more power to your life. Yeah, that you're valuing yourself more because you're seeing something that was blocking your personal power. Yeah, and that's kind of what Chiron is. Read, I talked about it, how it can sabotage. We can use it to sabotage ourselves. Yeah. And so yeah, more self-worth and more power. Chiron squares Pluto, and let's look at that. Here is Pluto. Pluto is in your fifth house of self-expression. You see, self-expression is very important. It's linked to our authority over our own life, right? How we show ourselves to people, our self-identity, how we shine. It can, have to do with our talents as well. But this is to your fifth house, as I was saying here. And Pluto's about power. It's also about transformation. And it's being trined from your eighth house of transformation. A big change for you. It can be how you relate in your relationships with love, because the fifth house is love and sex. It's children. Maybe you are, kind of interacting with your children in another way. Maybe you felt some type of guilt. Pluto has to do with guilt as well. Yes, it does. And this 12th house can have to do with guilt as well, where Chiron is trining that 12th house. All right. Yeah. And so, but this is helping you step into your power and your authentic self-expression, possibly your creative pursuits. And there may be something that you'll do with the help of Chiron that helps you align with your own authenticity, Libra. And that's what Chiron's trying to do here. All right. So thank you so much, Libra, for joining me here today. If you've liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell, and you'll be notified of my next video. If you want a reading with me, they're highly empowering, trust me. And I just don't talk about I talk about your soul gifts, karmic lessons. It's very, very deep. Um, yeah, and so, yeah, and much more. Trust me, I don't have time to explain it here, but thanks so much, Libra. And now we're going to go to Scorpio. Let's move the ascendant. Excuse me. And here you are, Scorpio. So let's see here. Okay, so Scorpio, let's talk about the health, the potential, right? It depends, or it could be 100% healthy. We all have some kind of sensitivities though, because that's what the sixth house shows us. That's what the nodes show us. Virgo explains health, so does Pisces. Um, yeah, so we have, a lot going on. Um, potentially in a natal chart about sensitivities. You'll never get a chart from me that says, oh, you're going to get this disease. No, we don't do that. So Virgo, I mean, not Virgo, Scorpio. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so Taurus rules, but the chart does empower you. It does. It can tell you, hey, this could be a little sensitive. Yeah. And so here we have we already talked about Scorpio, about how Taurus rules the throat, the thyroid, the voice, um and also the shoulders, all right? So but for you, you rule the reproductive system, right? Um and the elimination organs like kidneys, lungs, liver, and skin. And so, where is Chiron is in your seventh house, and the seventh house has to do with your adrenal glands and your kidneys. Yeah, it does. So, so maybe something is, getting better there, or, definitely it can. All right. So, uh, you know, so let's talk about your the psychology here, the psychology of the stars, Scorpio. And so Chiron is in your seventh house of partnerships. This is all kinds of partnerships, business and clients, romantic, what have you, right? And this is how you create harmony and balance in your life, legal matters, and opponents. Opponents can be anything. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be something that, I don't know, some type of point of view that doesn't, or something that doesn't agree with you. Yeah, it can be a thing as well. All right. But We have Venus is the ruler of Chiron and ruling your 12th house. So, no, it's not ruling your, oh, yes, it is. I beg your pardon. So here we are, and Venus is ruling that 12th house. This is the 12th house of ending. So Chiron in your 7th house here, it's asking you to release something that may be related to relationships because the seventh house is relationships and partnerships, and Libra rules uh, the seventh house in the natural chart, and Libra is being ruled by Chiron here in your 12th house of endings. There's something you have to end, release, move on from. Yeah, and it does. It's helping you here. It's helping you see that. Now, it could be the way you show up in relationships as well, right? It definitely could be, right? Maybe you're now you're like, well, I don't approach relationships that way anymore, right? Venus is in your 10th house, and this is how you show yourself to the world. Venus is about relationships itself, right? Venus is the ruler of Chiron, so for a lot of us, it could be about our relationships. And Venus rules, Taurus is about money as well. And Venus rules love for you and creativity. Um, yeah, and beauty, right? Libra is, concerned with beauty. They are. My sister's a Libra, and she's got the house looking, very pretty. She's like that, right? And she's lovely. Librans are lovely. The way they look, yeah, it's a different kind of beauty. It's lovely, and so they are. And the men are. They're handsome, but in this kind of elegant, kind of cool way. Yeah. And so, um, here we have Venus showing up in this house of career, but this is how you show yourself to the world as well, right? So the authority you take over your own life. It is how others classify you, a social role. If you're not working, you don't have a career, is how, like, if you're a grandmother and you're taking care of kids, you're retired, that's your role, right? Or maybe you're just jetting around the world because you're independently wealthy. That's a status or a role, okay? Could be marriage or divorce, those type of all kinds of different roles or statuses we have. Venus is in that house. Venus in the 10th house is very good because it can be about your money, Scorpio, right? I hope I wasn't talking too much about Libra here. Or I mentioned, but this is for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, all right? Yeah, and so, excuse me, Venus is in that 10th house. It's in the house of the heart, right? And so this is love as well. Leo is love. The Libra rules love, and the seventh house rules love. So there's something, Scorpio, you could really be kind of getting over something, that are, you're able to overcome maybe your kind of perspective or your approach to love. It could definitely be happening here. It could be business partnerships as well. This is the 10th house of career. It just depends, right? Um, yeah, and so, yeah, let's see what else we have for you here. Chiron is making a sextile. Well, the sun is sextiling Chiron in Gemini. Let's look at the sun right here, making that sextile to Chiron. And the sun is in Gemini in your eighth house of transformation, your eighth house of regeneration. So you're changing here for sure. Um, and there's growth involved because we have Chiron squaring Jupiter. We'll talk about that in a minute, right? There's expansion, there's growth. And that's what Chiron is helping us do, right? Or helping all of us, really. Um, yeah, is as long as we are kind of willing to see, because Chiron does have to do with reflection. It does. And, right? Understanding ourselves at a deep level. All right, so making that sextile in your house of transformation, there's an opportunity for you to see yourself more powerful. This is the eighth house of power as well. It's not only regeneration and, it's also shared assets, intimate relationships, any type of close relationship you have with somebody. It is a money house as well. So, maybe there's, it has to do with your money, maybe your money that you share with other people or you make with spouses, your money in your relationships, because that is the eighth house, right? Now, there's an opportunity here for you to see yourself more powerful and more authentic in your intimate relationships, your business relationships. Yeah, and Mercury is the ruler of the sun, right? Mercury rules Gemini here. And the sun is in your ninth house of growth, expansion, purpose, and wisdom. So very good, Scorpio. Definitely serving and supporting you here. Chiron is sextiling the north node of true potential and higher calling in Pisces. Let's have a look at that. Chiron is making the sextile right here. This is to your fifth house of the heart. This is your fifth house of self-expression, creative expression, excuse me, your own authenticity, how you shine, your talents, and you just this is like power in this reading. That's how I'm seeing it. Scorpio is about power as well. They sure are. And so here we have Chiron making that sextile to the North Node. This is where you're going. It's giving you an opportunity to step into your true potential or to rise above, right? Definitely. And it's in Pisces, right? So you're trusting your intuition here. Scorpios are good at that. Everybody watching astrology should get good at that. They should. And so if you need a psychic reading, I can do that for you as well. But here we have Chiron making that sextile. This is ruled by Jupiter, right? And Jupiter is ruling Sagittarius, and that is your second house of well-being. Now, Chiron in Taurus is about well-being. If you got to watch the intro, right? You should always watch the intro because it's important. It explains, things that I don't always talk about here, or some of them are confirmed, but it just gives you kind of a lead in. So yeah, ruled by Jupiter. Yes, and Jupiter's over here in your second house. Chiron is making a trine to this part of fortune, and the trine is a favorable flow for you. It's making something easier for you. And here is Taurus ruling well-being as it is. And the second house is your well-being. All right. So, this is ruled by Jupiter. This is your philosophy on things. Your philosophy is kind of changing. Um, Either having to do with your well-being, your relationships, or your money as well, right? So here we have Chiron, yeah, making that to that trine there. Um, yeah, so let's see what else we have for you, Scorpio. I'm getting off the notes and then, then I kind of, all right. And let's see what else we have here. Um, Yeah, and Chiron is making that trine to your 11th house right here. Your 11th house is ruled by Mercury. We just kind of hit on Mercury, but I didn't kind of talk about it yet here, right? Yeah. But Chiron, beg your pardon, you guys, this is my eighth reading, right? But here we have Chiron making the trine to your 11th house of future aspirations. This is also your house of hopes and wishes, gains from the 10th house of career or status or social roles. But that house is also about the people you identify with. So, Chiron, you could be moving away from maybe, who you thought would be a good lover, or these types of people, because it's coming from your house of relationships, and this is your house of social connections, right? And so you might be picking new people in your life to, romantically or to be in maybe in business relationships. That's a possibility. And this South Node, Chiron is helping you move away from anything that limits you regarding your future aspirations or any people or type of people who are kind of, there to limit you or keep you in the past, things like that. So we have Mercury ruling this 11th house. Mercury's ruling the sun in your house of transformation, and Mercury is here in your ninth house of growth and expansion. It's beautiful. Yeah, it really is. And when we talked about Sagittarius, not Sagittarius, we talked about Jupiter. Chiron is making a square to Jupiter here. Jupiter is ruling your second house of well-being and your fifth house of self-expression. These are very important houses. And in terms of your well-being, for sure. Um, and your stability. And Chiron squaring that Jupiter. Jupiter is it's in its really, it's in terms of houses, it's very at home here because it rules the ninth house. So this square to Jupiter in Cancer, in nurturing Cancer, it's telling you to nurture yourself, in order to grow and expand. And it's asking you to make an adjustment, Scorpio, because that's what the squares are about. That's why they're red. And, this is, it's a challenging kind of aspect, but it can be, it just can simply be asking you to make some type of adjustment so you can move into your higher purpose and experience more meaning in your life, um, and grow and expand. Yeah, that's what that square is about. All right. Yeah, yes, and this trine back here, but this trine from Chiron to your 11th house of the future, right? I was talking about that. It's in discerning Virgo, right? The sun is ruled by Mercury. This is asking you to really think about your life. It sure is, right? It sure is. And so, yeah, we also have Mercury in this sextile with, not sextile, conjunction. It's aligned here with Jupiter. Mercury is telling Jupiter, basically telling Jupiter here in the ninth house, it's saying, hey, look, I have new ideas here in order to grow and expand. And in order to do that, I kind of need to be, not kind of, but I need to be nurturing myself. I need to be good to myself, all right? And that's what Chiron in Taurus, it's about valuing yourself, moving away from some type of wound or vulnerability where perhaps we don't value ourselves enough, right? Because that's what Taurus represents, value, well-being, and material comfort, possessions. Yeah, and that's important to you, Scorpio, because you rule the eighth house of um, money. That's another, it's another, the eighth house is on the axis for your sign in the natural chart with Taurus, right? And they're both money signs, and that's the money axis. Yeah. So, yeah, and so thank you so much for joining me here, Scorpio. If you've enjoyed my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and you'll get an upload. You'll be notified of my next video, and I'll see you in the next one. And so let's move on now to Sagittarius, and we're going to put you on the ascendant here. We're putting you on the hot seat here, Sagittarius, right? And you're in red. Look at that. So, so Sagittarius, let's talk about the physical first. Where is that here? Chiron's, okay, so Chiron in Taurus, I've said it in every sign just in case, right? Chiron rules the throat, the voice, the thyroid, and the shoulders, all right? Not Chiron, but Taurus does, okay? So, Chiron is in your sixth house, and this sixth house is rules the digestive system. So Sagittarius, yeah, interesting there. And this is in uh, this sixth house is your digestive system. That's interesting. So Sagittarius is basically in general have to kind of be careful with their digestive system, right? Yeah, they do have to take good care of it. Make sure you're feeding your microbiome, right? Lots of fruits and vegetables. Yeah, and not to avoid the processed foods, definitely. So here we have we talked about Taurus, the throat and the shoulders, but also Sagittarius, you rule the hips, the thighs, and the liver. And the liver is part of the digestive as well. So very interesting there. And now let's talk about your psychology, the psychology of the stars for Sagittarius. Chiron is in your sixth house of work and service. And here it is. All right. And this is your house of health and wellness, daily habits, routines, and obstacles. There's likely something different about your work, your health habits. We were just talking about that. Could be, or just your daily routines that you carry out, day in and day out, right? Chiron is squaring Pluto in your third house. So Chiron's here squaring Pluto. Your third house is your house of ideas. It's your house of thinking. So you're thinking likely something different about this sixth house, about like we're just talking about these themes, right? Health and, daily routines and work and things like that. It's making a square here. It's asking you to transform something, right? Pluto is transformation. It's also power, and it is showing up. And this can be also crises. Pluto is associated with crises. So if you've had some type of a health thing here, Kind of pay attention, Sagittarius, right? Because it can be. Now, the third house is not health, but it's ruled by Mercury. Uh, uh, well, in the natural chart. Here we have Chiron in your sixth house of health. Uh, but this is about values. It doesn't always have to be health as such. It can be the health as how you value yourself. It's making a square, or the health of anything, right? The health of your ideas, the health of your work. This is the third house. This is a work house as well. It's about your ideas, your plans, and your goals, your skills, and willpower. So this is asking you to make some type of a change, right there, an adjustment, right? And Saturn is ruling this third house, right? Saturn rules Aquarius, um, right? Traditionally, and we go by the tradition, it's far more meaningful, right? Yes, it is. And so Saturn is ruling this, and Saturn is in Aries in your fifth house of self-expressions. You're doing something different in your daily life or with your work, or possibly regarding your health here, that or the health of something. But that is, important for your talent or your self-expression, your creative pursuits. Yeah, that's what's going on there, right? We have Chiron as well, so that's Saturn ruling that. Saturn is also ruling Capricorn, and that is your second house of well-being. And remember, Sagittarius, Taurus is about well-being and values. Yeah, because if we have good values, we usually have good well-being, right? Or a stable kind of well-being. But if we have poor values, poor choices, then we make poor choices, then, but that's the second house right here. Yours is ruled by Saturn. All right. So let's see what else I have for you. This is also where Saturn sits, your house of children. Maybe there's something else going on. This is also recreational activities where Saturn is. And so, yeah, Chiron is being ruled by Venus. So let's look at that. And yeah, Chiron's here in Taurus, and Venus is ruling your 11th house of higher, not higher, but future aspirations. This is your house of hopes and wishes and gains from the 10th house of career, or whatever it is that you do in the world, your status or your role, in case you're not working, right? And Venus is ruling that as well. And there's a link right here, and it's showing this because Venus ruling your sixth house of health and work. Um, yeah, and your daily routines. Your health is definitely linked to your future. I mean, it's right here. It's definitely linked to your future aspirations. In other words, you have to take care of yourself. Yes, and Taurus is a robust sign. It is. So, the sixth house of health is in Taurus, right? But still, we all kind of have to take care of ourselves. It shows up in our chart, right? Our sensitivities, it definitely does. It in a few different places. It shows up in your sixth house. It shows up with your nodes. Um, yeah, it can show up with. It can show up also with Virgo, whatever's in Virgo for you. Yeah, definitely can. All right. So, and it can show up with Chiron as well. It can show up in your 12th house and your sixth house. All right, so now we have Venus is in your ninth house of growth and expansion, Sagittarius. Here's Venus. It's a little grayed out. Here it is in pink. We're going to go back and yeah, use Chiron here. But Chiron is well, it's making a square to your natal Jupiter. But Venus, the ruler of Chiron, is in your ninth house of growth and expansion. This is in your house of wisdom, but your house of purpose and what is meaningful to you. Very interesting here how Venus is there. It's in the sign of love, but Venus is your money as well. And Venus is your well-being, love, your money, how you create harmony and balance in your life, and beauty, right? So, um, yeah, and this is your self-worth. Venus is associated with your self-worth because it rules Taurus, which is stability and self-worth. So here we have Venus in, the sign of the heart, in the sign of Leo, which is love. But Leo represents our talents as well. how we shine, right? And yes, and so this is important here. It's telling you something here because it sure is. Venus is in that house, right? And in that sign. All right. So you might have a different attitude about relationships. You definitely could. Maybe they have to do with work relationships. But for me, this looks like you are kind of uh, something here to do with your self-expression that Chiron is helping you with, or your talents, right? Yeah. And so, yeah. And now we have Mercury. Let's talk about the sun making that sextile to the sun here. The sun is in your seventh house of partnerships, and these are business and clients, any type of partnerships, how you create harmony and balance in your life. And it's coming from being ruled by Venus here, right? And this is ruled by Mercury. There's an opportunity here for you to like improve your relationships, or create more harmony and balance in your life. Maybe improve, business and clients, your ideas, because it's, this is in, the sun is in Mercury, and this is about, it can be about the way you think about things. There's an opportunity to kind of upgrade that. Yeah, there definitely is with Chiron there. Chiron is showing you something in the sixth house in Taurus, all right? This can be to value yourself, Sagittarius. Value yourself with your work. Value yourself more, how you show yourself to the world. And it can be also, since this is in the house of work, trining your 10th house of career and authority over your own life, it can be about your money as well, right? Or the money you earn, and, how to kind of just earn more money. That could be the case here. All right. Now, now, since the sun is in Mercury ruled Gemini, we also have Mercury ruling your, excuse me, ruling, Libra, and that is your 11th house of the future. You see what I mean? Everything's connected here. Very interesting, right? Hmm. And the sun is ruling your ninth house of growth and expansion, where Venus sits. So there's definitely a connection here. I feel like what you might have been doing here, Sagittarius, for some, is maybe suppressing your self-expression a little bit. Chiron can have to do with our confidence. Depends it where it is in your own chart. Good. Because because it can, right? So, excuse me, and this is Venus is in this house, the sign of self-expression, for sure. And Saturn is ruling your second house of well-being, and it's in your fifth house of self-expression. Yeah, it's possible here that you've been kind of suppressing your talents or just not showing yourself fully. Just be who you are, Sagittarius, right? For sure, right? We're all special. We're all talented. We all have our own talents. They might be different than your sisters or whoever's, but we all have talents. We sure do. All right. Um, And this is, if you're listening to this right now, this, it may have to do with your own chart, of course, right? Your own chart will be a little bit different, right? If you'd like to explore your own chart, I can definitely do that, and show you, and, get a reading with me. Check out the description box below. All right. So we talked about Mercury ruling your 10th house, right? Because the sun is in Mercury, Mercury ruled Gemini here, and Mercury's ruling this here, this 10th house of career and authority over your own life. Chiron's trining this. It's making it easy for you to step into the real, authentic Sagittarius, showing yourself to the world, leaving behind lack. There's some type of, or limiting, something that was limiting your full authority in your life, or you're stepping into a career maybe that you really want, because Chiron's in your house of work, and Mercury is ruling that 10th house of career, all right? And so here we have, you could be just doing something different though, right? Daily different habits over here. Chiron's in that house. Now, the South Node is in that 10th house, and this is, kind of limiting yourself. We all do, we can all do it, but that's why it's here to show us where maybe we have been just kind of staying. Sometimes that south node is what's limiting us, the past, conditioning, wounds, family wounds. But sometimes it's just the familiar where we just stay kind of where we're not really growing. It can be that because it's associated with limiting, so it can be associated with self-limiting, right? Chiron's trining that house ruled by Mercury. And so Mercury is actually in your eighth house of transformation. So you're thinking differently about career or your daily habits. It does look like that. And so, or your role, how you show yourself to the world. There's definitely more confidence here. There definitely is, right? And Chiron is, squaring your natal Jupiter here. It is in a sextile with Mercury. Mercury's telling Jupiter here, look, a change has to happen. It's in the house of transformation. A change has to happen. It could be a relationship with money. It's in a money house, the eighth house, and Taurus rules money, right? And so it's in nurturing Cancer. Make sure that you are nurturing yourself. Maybe you are really nurturing yourself more. You definitely could be because that's always the key, right? Self-love. And Venus is related to our self-worth, right? Yeah. And so that's very important. Jupiter is here and asking you to make some type of adjustment as to what I've been explaining, right? Jupiter is ruling your first house, of course, your sign, and your fourth house of emotional needs, where Chiron sextiles the north node of higher purpose, true potential. So we can kind of see what's going on here, right? And I don't know if I spoke about this, but Chiron is squaring your third house, squaring Pluto. And Pluto is about our power. It's also about transformation. And your natal ruler is sitting in the house of transformation right now. Okay, so Chiron is squaring Pluto here. This is your third house of thinking. You're thinking different, it's asking you to think differently about something here. These themes we've been talking about. It's in your house of work, the health of something. Doesn't have to be, your physical health. I explained that, right? But this square is asking you to make some type of a change, an adjustment. It does have to do with kind of your own power, and it has to do with your well-being because Saturn is ruling Pluto here, and Saturn is ruling your second house of well-being. All right. So thank you so much, Sagittarius, for joining me here today. If you liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell. I'll be back with another video. But you're definitely stepping into your true, powerful self. Yeah, you are. All right. So let's move on now. And we're going to move into Capricorn. And yeah, let's see. Thank you, Sagittarius. Let's see what we got for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right. Let's put you on the ascendant. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see here. Here you are, Capricorn. And yes, and here's is good old Chiron, right? Yeah. And I remember when Chiron, they were calling this the key, right? The key to healing. Yeah, we can call it that. Chiron is called the wounded warrior, right? Because Chiron got shot by he received a he was shot by a poisonous arrow. Yeah. And so yeah, and then he became I explained it in the intro, but he became immortal because he couldn't stand the pain. I think that was part of it. So then he was Zeus put him up in the sky, right? But it is about healing, and he knew about medicine. Yes, he was the wisest centaur. All right. So for you, Capricorn, when we talk about the physical, Taurus rules the throat, anything in the throat, the neck, the throat, the thyroid, the voice, and also the shoulders. All right. Now you are ruling the bones, the joints, and the gallbladder. Yes, it's interesting how we have that. That means that the gallbladder must be somewhat associated with the bones, right? It definitely, right? I would think so. And Chiron is in your fifth house. So the fifth house rules the heart, the spine, and the back. So, maybe there's something that it can heal there. Doesn't have to be anything serious, all right? I'm not trying to scare anybody here. No, not at all. We're talking about how to just improve wellness, right? Things like that, all right? So here we have Capricorn. Here we have you, and I'm not a doctor, so definitely, if you have anything like that, go see your doctor. All right, please. All right, so here um we have Chiron here, and Chiron is in your fifth house of self-expression. And so, yeah, and this house does rule the heart. It does, the spine and the back. It does. It's in value kind of oriented Taurus, as we know, as you've been probably listening to if you watch the intro. Taurus is about, it is about our money, but it's about how we value ourselves and our values, what we value in life, and our stability, because that's always related to our values, our self-worth, all right, and our possessions. Taurus is rules the good life, right? It does. That's why it rules food. It can rule indulgence, right? It can. So in nature, our senses, yeah. So here we have, it also rules perseverance, yeah, and stubbornness, all right? So I'm not saying you're stubborn, Capricorn, all right? Just kind of, So Chiron's in your fifth house of the heart. This is your house of self-expression, self-identity, talents and hobbies, love and sex, right? Fun and entertainment and children. And this is the house of the heart. I was saying that. And your own authenticity, right? And how you shine. And Venus is the ruler of Chiron, and Venus is right here. And interesting how Venus is the ruler of Chiron, and it's in heart-based Leo. So, yeah, very interesting there. And Venus is also ruling Libra, and that is your 10th house of career. So this is your house, also how you shine in a way, because it's your house of how you, wield authority over your own life, how you show yourself to the world, right? Your own authority, your authority and ambition, your achievement. And if you're not working, it is because it is about, it can be about career. It's just your social role, okay? So Venus is ruling that house. Um, and so, yeah, Venus is in your eighth house of transformation. So there's some type of a major change here that Chiron will bring you, right? This is your house of love and sex. And as I said, I was not the house, but the sign of love and sex, Leo, anything from the heart, the talents. But also, this is your house of transformation and regeneration. It is also your house of intimate relationships, not necessarily sex, although, yeah, it can. This is a money house, and it's a house where you're able to see deep psychological themes about yourself. You're able to see beneath the veil. And this is the house of crises and also power and secrets, right? Things that have been, it's a hidden house. And what does that mean? It means that we don't, sometimes we don't see things in our life until later on because they're in a hidden house. I mean, it can be about people, secrets and those things that have been hidden, but maybe by other people, of course. But uh, for the most part, it is, about what has been hidden from us, our psyche. That is the house of the psyche, right? The one of them, right? Now, it's also the house of psychic ability and your intuition. And so we have, it's the house of other people's money. The money you share with other people can be somebody you earn money with, a spouse, even, a family member, a business partner. It's a money house, basically, and other people's money, all right? Now, we have Chiron making a square to Pluto in your second house of well-being. You see, this is important. So Chiron is showing you something about your well-being. Here's the square to Pluto. And so this is, Pluto's about transformation. It is about your power. So it's asking you to make an adjustment so you can step into your own your authentic power. It's coming from that fifth house of authenticity and your self-expression. So yeah, so you can step into your power, right? And the second house is about it is about your self-worth. So it's asking you to kind of, value yourself more as well, all right? So you can step into your own power. We talked about Venus being in Leo. And yeah, and this is to help you as well. This square here, Capricorn, is to Aquarius. This is future oriented Aquarius to help you move into the future easier, right? Yeah, it is. And so Chiron is receiving a trine from the moon and the north node, sorry, the south node. Let's look at that. Excuse me. Chiron is, here's Chiron, and the south node is in your ninth house of growth and expansion. So the trine is making it easier for you to be more authentic, your self-expression, your confidence, how you show yourself to the world, basically, and step into your talents here. But what that trine is doing, um, right, to your ninth house of growth and expansion and, and purpose. And the trine is to the south node. The south node is concerned with, is focused, or is about the past. Yeah, it's about what has limited us or conditioning. Could be childhood, could be anything. But that south node is associated with lack or what limits us, right? Or what we already know about that, we know about it so well that now we need to grow, right? We need to move toward our higher purpose, which is the north node. So they're always on that axis, right? And yeah, and so we have that trine there, and that trine is, Mercury is ruling this ninth house for you. Mercury is ruling the sun in your sixth house of health and work and daily routines, your lifestyle really, and the sixth house of obstacles. All right. So yeah, and Mercury is also, yeah, ruling, excuse me, ruling your this ninth house of growth and expansion. Mercury is actually in uh, right here in your seventh house of relationships. This is your seventh house of how you create harmony and balance with others and with for yourself, right? Um, and your house of legal matters and opponents, right? This is a business house as well. Clients. Mm-hmm. And Venus, let's talk a little bit about Venus here. Venus is the ruler of Chiron, and it is making a trine to your natal Saturn. Let's look at that. So here's Venus, and here's the trine to Saturn, right? Yes. And so and Venus is supporting your long-term goals. It is um yeah, because Venus is actually making this opposition. Mm-hmm. It's making actually Venus is making that excuse me, Capricorn is making that trine to your natal Saturn in Aries, right? So Saturn is about your long-term goals. Let's put this back here. Saturn is about your long-term goals. It's about your achievement. It's about being serious and disciplined, right? It can be about restrictions, but that's when we don't kind of do the hard work or we're not kind of stepping into our own authority over our own life. And Venus is ruling this house of the authority over your own life. So there's some type of theme going on here. It can be your career, but this is in your fourth house of Venus is making that trine to your fourth house of emotional needs. It's making, an emotional foundation. It's making that trine there in Aries to the sign of the self. So this is important too. Here, it has to do with your relationships. It's Venus, possibly your money. Um, yeah, and your own well-being in your life because it is making the trine to your house of emotional needs. Okay. Yeah, and we have Jupiter in Cancer, and that is squaring Chiron from your seventh house of relationships. It's right here. All right, so let's put Chiron back here. Let's go ahead and just do Chiron here, making a square to Jupiter here. Now, Jupiter is about your growth and your expansion. It's about wisdom. It's about your higher purpose and what is meaningful to you, right? What creates meaning to you in your life. It's in the seventh house of relationships. It can be partnerships or business, as I was saying. And most importantly, when we talk about Chiron in Taurus, it's about your well-being in some way. All right, Chiron is making that square, asking you to step into your kind of your own integrity and really believe in yourself, Capricorn, because Jupiter has to do with our beliefs and our belief for growth and expansion, our philosophy, that type of beliefs as well. But it has to do with integrity, Jupiter. It does, because it has to do with the truth. And so here, and wisdom. Wisdom is always, related to the truth. It sure is, because wisdom is gained from experience, right? A real situation that has happened. So this Chiron square to your seventh house is to Jupiter is asking you to step into your true role and authority over your own life. And maybe that has to do with, your relationships or how you create harmony and balance. But this is like believe in yourself really and step into your integrity, which is related to your higher power and what's meaningful to you. Yeah. All right. So yeah, and to create more space, Capricorn, for your expansion and higher purpose. That's what that square is doing there. And Jupiter wants you to believe in yourself, and that's what I was saying. All right. Thank you so much for joining me here, Capricorn. If you've enjoyed this content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell, and you'll be notified of my next upload. If you'd like a reading with me, my readings are great. Why am I kind of um, bragging? Because I get really deep here and I approach the chart from a place of awareness, and it brings this empowerment, and it's very deep. I talk about many, many things, not just your personality. No, no, no. So thanks so much for joining me, Capricorn, and we're going to move on to Aquarius, and we're going to put Aquarius on the ascendant, and here you are, Aquarius. All right, so here we have Chiron already showing up. And yeah, and so Chiron, excuse me, Aquarius, Chiron has moved. And let's talk about the health aspect first, all right? Because it can be. Chiron can talk about your physical health. And we've already said probably 10 times now or 11, because that Taurus rules the throat, anything in the throat, the thyroid, the voice, and also the shoulders, right? But for you, Aquarius, it can be that. You rule the ankles, the calves, circulation system, and the veins. So, maybe something there. But Chiron is in your fourth house, which rules the chest and the breasts, the lungs, and the stomach. So maybe something can, it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be something very subtle that can, maybe get better, right, with Chiron there. All right. So Aquarius, Chiron has moved into your fourth house. Here I have you on the ascendant. The fourth house is your house of home and family, or your foundation, right? But if you don't have a home and family because you're, family, some people, far away, or they just, they're on their own. It's your emotional needs, all right, which is very important, your emotional foundation. So that's what Chiron is sitting there. This can also be about the physical home. It can. And your natal Saturn is being trined by Venus. Venus is the ruler of Chirons, ruling this house here, right? Rules Taurus, rules Libra. And so we have natal Saturn is being trined. So here's Saturn. Let's just look at Saturn instead. And it is being trined by, what did I put here? By Venus. And let's find Venus. Where is Venus here? Um, yeah, beg your pardon, you guys. Here's Venus. Um, Venus is the 7 degrees, and Saturn is at, uh, that is a trine. It sure is, but it's not really showing. There it is. Okay, sorry, you guys. So here's Venus, and it is making that trine to Saturn, natal Saturn. Saturn's in your third house of thinking. This is your third house of goals, skills, plans, speaking, communication, anything of the cerebral. It's also your house of early childhood and extended family, like siblings and cousins. Oh, siblings not extended, but uncles and all extended family and siblings. Short distance travel, learning, of course, with the mind. And the immediate environment. So we have Venus making that trine, making it easier for you to think differently about something, right? With Chiron in your fourth house. Um, because Saturn rules your first house. This is, what's personal to you. Saturn is ruling that house. It's also ruling your 10th house, your 12th house of ending. So there's some type of ending here for you that you're going to be doing because Chiron will show you that. Yeah, it will help you kind of leave something out. This third house, where Venus, the ruler of Chiron, yeah, is trining here, is your third house of willpower as well, Aquarius. So very good, right? Now, Venus is also ruling Venus where Chiron sits. Venus rules your fourth house. I beg your pardon, your fourth house of foundation. But also, I explained that your fourth house of your needs, emotional needs. But Venus also rules your ninth house of growth and expansion. So Chiron's going to help you with something about your growing, either how you value yourself, your emotional courage could definitely, we all need emotional courage. We sure do, not just physical courage. Physical courage is great. Yeah, I can play tennis well today, or whatever that is, right? Or I can make the team. Physical courage, right? But yeah, we need emotional courage. It's very important. So let's see here, and that trine is also to, it's into the house of the self. This is helping you maybe possibly think differently about yourself, right? And to Saturn, Saturn does talk about, it could be asking you to think differently about your goals here, blending patience, structure, and possibly thinking about something long term. Chiron wants you to overcome something connected to those emotional needs. It can be ego as well, because our emotional needs are they're always connected to our ego. Chiron is in your fourth, asking you to for self nurturing and to value yourself. All right, may have mentioned that as well. And so Venus, right, is right here. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. And Venus is squaring Pluto. Is that what it's opposing Pluto? Let's look at it here in your first house. So Venus is in, romantic Leo, about your self-expression as well, your creative pursuits, your self-identity, the house of the heart or the sign of the heart. And making this opposition to Pluto, and Venus is in your seventh house of relationships and how you create harmony and balance in your life. So there's something here that you are doing that Chiron will help you to create more harmony and balance in your life, right? It's also in the house of legal matters and opponents, things or people that don't agree with you on things. Maybe you don't care, you're caring less about if so and so doesn't agree with you, or right, it could be the case, right? Venus also represents our money. It does not just love and self-worth. Our money, it does. And so it's making that opposition to Pluto. That opposition is asking you to make an adjustment and let something transform about yourself that is associated with the seventh house or these Leo themes, right? They're both about love, they are, but this has to do with how you value your self-expression, and it could be also about uh, like how to create harmony and balance in your life, or how you value your relationships with others. Yeah, can be with yourself as well, definitely, right? Now, you could feel a little bit of push-pull, Aquarius, between wanting stability and freedom at the same time in a relationship because of this opposition. Yes, and you might feel that with this opposition with because this is in your first house of self, and this is in your seventh house of the other or relationships, and that's where the opposition sits. So, maybe your values are changing and you kind of like you want a relationship, but you still want this kind of freedom. That's what that opposition can indicate there, all right? And Chiron may be able to help you kind of resolve that because it's in your house of emotional needs. Very interesting there. Yeah, I feel like it is. All right. Um, yeah, and it can also be, that opposition between Venus and Pluto. It can be some confusion about wanting a friendship because you guys are, Aquarius is about friendship as well, about having a relationship but you're kind of maybe, you're kind of confused or on the fence. Doesn't have to be confused, but maybe on the fence uh, about your relationships, or maybe a particular one, but whether you want friendship or a deeper connection. Yes, and excuse me, guys. Chiron is receiving a trine from the moon and the south node in Virgo. All right. And that thing I was talking about relationships could be just your perspective, kind of a general perspective, like, do I want a friendship and, excuse me, a deep friendship with somebody like companionship, or do I want a deep connection, like an intimate relationship? That it could be about your perspective as well. And where were we? I was talking about Chiron receiving a trine here. Yeah. Okay. So here's Chiron in your fourth house of emotional needs and family. It's receiving this trine, and this is in your eighth house of transformation. And Venus is opposing Pluto, which is transformation. So we have a big change going on here for you. It can have to do with intimate relationships. This house where Chiron is trining or receiving the trine basically is the house of transformation, regeneration, intimate relationships, whatever they are. It doesn't, sex or just close relationships with others. And this is a money house. It's the money that we earn with other people. Right. And so maybe there's something to do with money and relationships here that Chiron is helping you see, but you're moving away from like lack because, or a limiting perspective or something like that, because that south node is indicating that, right? We want to move away from the south node. And this is, right, making that trine easier for you to transform or kind of regenerate something about yourself. It can be showing you something at a very deep level because the eighth house is also the house of understanding psychological themes at a deep level. It is in the natural chart, it's Scorpio rules the eighth house. So, Scorpio is about depth and intensity. So, maybe you're seeing something at a very deep level. Chiron could be showing you a wound about yourself, your emotional needs that you're able to transform that as well. All right. Now, that trine is to your eighth house, but it's in discerning Virgo, right? Virgo wants us to be smart. Virgo is about analyzing, it's about refinement, it's about doing things better, right? It has the methods and the processes. One time I asked a Virgo, he goes, Denise, it's a process. I was like, wow, that's a Virgo thing, right? That was long before I remember that very clearly, long before I was doing astrology. But yeah, and so that trine's making it easier for you to do that. Now, Virgo is being ruled by Mercury. Mercury's ruling the sun. The sun is in your fifth house, Aquarius, your fifth house of um yeah, and so getting back to this though, this here about the trine, let's look at Chiron one more time. This is letting you let go of and release wounds or conditioning from the past or anything that's been limiting you. All right. And as I said, it could be a perspective, right? All right. So here we have, um, yeah, and now we talked about Venus making that sextile to Pluto. We sure did. Venus is also opposing Juno. So Venus is important. It's ruling Chiron, right? But it's opposing Juno here. Um, yeah, we talked about that a little bit, about a push-pull between wanting something very special or kind of wanting you're in a relationship or wanting your freedom at the same time. All right. So in discerning Virgo, sorry, you guys, kind of switching around here, but in discerning Virgo, this is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is um, right here in your sixth house of this is your house of your house of health and wellness. It can be physical health, but it can be health as such, the health of your emotions or the health of your relationships, the health of your everyday lifestyle, right? Any type of health. And so Mercury is not ruling that, but it's there. And it is in a conjunction with Jupiter as well. So there's like And Chiron is squaring that right here, squaring Jupiter in your sixth house. And so when Chiron squares the sixth house with Jupiter, squaring Jupiter, it's asking you to make an adjustment to kind of grow, right? And allow expansion in your life. That's the adjustment that's being made. It wants you to see wisdom, understand the wisdom, and kind of reach your higher potential and live with meaning. That's what that square is talking about. And Mercury is telling Jupiter, basically, is kind of giving Jupiter the idea, sort of, the smarts, if you will, right? Yeah, and Mercury's ruling this eighth house of transformation, and your fifth house of self-expression and your talents and kind of who you are from the heart, right? Yeah. So now we have Chiron and is making a sextile to the North Node. And Chiron here to Pisces in your second house of well-being. See, Chiron is helping with the well-being. It definitely is. And it's opposing, not opposing, but making the sextile to the North Node in Jupiter-ruled Pisces. So, yeah, there's some type of, higher purpose here for you and growth and expansion that Chiron is associated with, right? Or trying to help you see that, right? Chiron's in a hidden house for you as well, Aquarius. So, it's possible that this can come kind of as, oh, like kind of an awakening, sort of, or, you know what I mean? Like, or a powerful realization, right? And it's making the trine to your other hidden house, ruled by Mercury, right? Yeah, so interesting. But here we have Chiron making the sextile to the North Node. This is your North Node of your soul's mission, your higher potential, your true potential. Very beautiful. And it is from, Venus, it is from Taurus. And, the second house has to do with your well-being as Taurus does. Taurus rules the second house in the natural chart, right? So as an archetype. So here we have that sextile here, and in Jupiter ruled, Chiron. I mean, not Chiron. Jupiter ruled Pisces. Very well there here. This is helping you, basically giving you an opportunity to kind of upgrade your well-being and your self-worth, possibly offering you a chance or an opportunity to increase that well-being, your stability in your life, and value yourself more, and to become more aligned with your true path, because Jupiter is associated with your true path, your higher calling. It sure is, your growth and expansion and what really is meaningful for you. So there's an opportunity for you to do that. It's very beautiful here for you, Aquarius. All right. So thank you so much for joining me here. If you've enjoyed my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell and you'll receive a notification of my next upload. If you don't know how to do that, look it up, because it can be a little bit difficult. Somebody was telling me that, well, how come I'm not getting notifications when I hit the bell? So yeah, you might have to, it might be a setting on your phone. So if you want to get my notifications, you might want to look that up, right? You can look it up right here on YouTube. You sure can. It's all there. Thank you so much, Aquarius, for joining me here. And I'm going to move on to Pisces, and I'm going to put Pisces on the ascendant. And yes, and so Pisces, here you are, and there's Chiron. So we'll talk about the health, a little bit about Pisces. And where are you here? Yeah, so Taurus rules, you've heard this a zillion times, but Taurus rules the throat. I just don't want to leave it out in case you maybe missed it, but Taurus rules the throat, anything in the throat, the voice, the neck, um, and the thyroid as well, right? Tauruses are singers, and because of, the throat, but also Taurus rules the shoulders. And you, Pisces, you rule the feet and the lymphatic system. That's why, you guys can kind of have to be a little bit careful with the fluid, right? I have a Pisces south node, and I can get fluid, a little bit of edema. Yeah, so I have to watch out for that. The nodes do have to do with our health. They sure do. And so also, And that fluid is associated with the immune, right? Chiron's in your third house, which rules shoulders and your arms and the lungs, the hands, and the nervous system. All right. So maybe you are kind of, healing something has to do with your nervous system, which is always great, right? It can be overcoming. It doesn't have to be a major healing where, hey, I just got treatment, some major treatment. It can be in therapy, but I'm just saying some of these things we can, and that's what Chiron can be about reflection and how we can kind of help ourselves heal with our mind, right? Yeah. And so for you, Pisces, Chiron is in your third house of thinking, communication, ideas, plans and goals, skills and willpower. And I'm not a doctor, just so you guys kind of know that. Yeah, I'm not. So, if there's something going on here, maybe, you may want to go to a doctor. I just have to throw that in there as a disclaimer for sure. But here we have, this is also your house of skills and willpower. It's your house of early childhood and short distance travel, short trips, and whatever is kind of in your immediate environment. It can be your neighborhood, it can be, the familiar environment, it can be, yeah, it definitely anything it has to do with your immediate or your familiar environment, right? If you go to the same store all the time, that has to do with your immediate environment, right? This, you take the same way home from school or whatever it is, right? Now, Venus, the ruler of Chiron, is ruling your eighth house, right? And so Venus is ruling this eighth house. This is the house of transformation. Let's go back to Chiron. So it rules this house. And so there's a major change for you, Pisces, because also the North Node is getting a sextile. The North Node of true potential is getting a sextile to your sign, or, making a sextile to the North Node. Uh, and this is your higher path or your soul's mission, right? And so Venus is ruling this eighth house of transformation. It definitely is. There's a profound change for you. Venus is in romantic Leo as well. Where's Venus here? Leo, right here. It's in romantic Leo. Leo is also about children, recreational activities. And it's how we shine, really, because Leo is ruled by the sun and our talents, our self-expression. So there can be definitely something here that is changing about your self-expression, maybe more confidence, definitely. Maybe you are valuing yourself more. Chiron is in value kind of based or value oriented Taurus. Taurus rules self-worth and stability. It's really quite beautiful. It is. And it is trining your 10th house of career or authority over your own life, right? This is like maturity and authority over our own life or our social role, how other people might see us in our power, right? The 10th house is associated with a certain power because it's career and authority, but it is making the trine to part of fortune. Part of fortune has to do with how we thrive. It's in philosophical Sagittarius, right? And kind of growth and expansive Sagittarius. So beautiful for you, right? Definitely is. All right. Let's see what else I have here. And Venus is in your house. We talked about how it's in Leo, but it's in your house, sixth house of work and service, right? It's in your house of health and wellness, but it doesn't have to be physical health as such. It can be the health of anything, the health of your ideas, the health of how you value yourself here, because it's, the square here, actually, Venus, sorry, is ruling this third house. And that's a business house as well, right? How you think. Maybe you are thinking in a more healthy way. Definitely. I would say that's totally true. If Chiron is trining your 10th house of authority with that part of fortune there, right? And interesting about the shadow, because the shadow, which is Black Moon Lilith, is in a conjunction with, it's aligned, right, with it's aligned with part of fortune in Sagittarius. So there's something about it's not making the trine to to not so much to Lilith, but it is to part of fortune. But Lilith still is kind of in that alliance with part of fortune. There's something about your shadow that you have seen, maybe as of recently, that you have kind of confronted, and you're like, oh, I don't need to kind of, do that anymore, right? The shadow can be what kind of limits us because we're, right? We need to face it and step out of the dark and into the light. Yeah, and so, mhm. And Venus is opposing your 12th house of endings. Let's look at that here. And the 12th house over here is ruled by Saturn, but Venus is opposing that in the sign of the heart, right? And I was talking about Leo here, but this is your 12th house of endings and release, and it is making an opposition to Pluto, which is about transformation and endings and new beginnings and regeneration. So there's definitely something you are learning to leave behind. Chiron is sitting in your house of learning, all right? That is helping you, Pisces. It definitely is, all right? Um, yeah, there's a huge change here, and you're letting something go. Chiron is squaring Pluto as well. Now let's look back at Chiron. We can see the square here, but let's get off of Venus for a moment here. Venus is square, not Venus, but Chiron is squaring Pluto in your 12th, in that 12th house. So we see the opposition here, and then we see the square. So they're both asking you to make an adjustment and let something transform entirely. And it looks like you are doing that for sure, right? The square can push us to do that, the opposition, but they both ask for an adjustment, like a change. Yeah. All right. So, and it's to let go of any old way of thinking, because it's coming from your third house of thinking that was hindering you or sabotaging you, and to value yourself. It could be, you could be, seeing yourself in a completely different light. Venus sits in Leo, and that could be about how you shine, your self-identity. And so here we have Chiron in that third house of thinking. You're thinking differently about yourself. You're valuing yourself as you release these old kind of attitudes. This is also where Pluto sits, where it gets an opposition from Venus, right? And Chiron squares it. This is the house of self-undoing, the house of fears and illusion, doubts, and where we don't have to doubt, but sometimes we may doubt, and it's just there's nothing to doubt or fear. It's just an illusion, right? Everybody has that house. Yes, they do. I do too. And, my moon is actually there. So, that's not so much fun, but but you learn, right? With astrology, you definitely learn. And so, but you're letting that go. You definitely are, right? It's also the house of transcendence, which is overcoming fears spiritually. Yes, it is. All right, so that's a very good thing. And the moon is, we have Chiron sextiling the moon and the not sextiling, but making a trine to your seventh house of relationships. It's not just relationships, though. It's the house where you create harmony and balance in your own life. You're doing that, Pisces, and it is supporting you, stepping, or not stepping, but it's supporting you, so you can enjoy more harmony and balance in your life. And because this is like a healing here, right? This 12th house here where Pluto sits is also a house of healing. Yes, it is. It's a house of illness, but on the high side, it's healing. Yeah, it is. It's a health house too. And we talked about how Venus is in the sixth house of health, but it doesn't have to be physical health, right? Yeah, it definitely doesn't have to be, all right? You could be healing your heart, right? And that's a beautiful thing, right? I feel like it is. Yeah. And I mean, in a very plain and simple way, healing your heart and valuing yourself more. There could have been a childhood wound here for you, Pisces. Chiron is in your third house of childhood, early childhood, and you're overcoming that. We all have to overcome that stuff. We can't let it define us because I've done so many charts and talked to so many people in my life, and You think when you first, know them, oh, have a nice family, even their parents are still together. And then they start to tell you about their life, and you're like, no, it's not the Brady Bunch for sure, right? You're like, oh, well, you can't make assumptions ever, right? So here's Chiron making a trine. You're letting go of lack over here that had to do with either relationships or maybe how you approached relationships, right? Your perspective on them. You're letting go of that. There's a lot of confidence in this reading that Chiron is helping you. And you're letting go of the past here, things that limited you. And it's to your third house of childhood. So this can be about the past, and can be about childhood, all right? You're valuing yourself more. The trine is helping you do that, Pisces, all right? Mercury is ruling this seventh house. It's also the seventh house of opponents. So maybe you're not judging people anymore, or you've forgiven them. This is the house of the judge because it's originally in the natural chart ruled by Libra, where the scales are, where we can judge people. All right, we never want to keep like grudges because it hurts us. Doesn't those people moved on long ago, right? They forgot all about the problem or maybe the situation with you. They've moved, and if they haven't moved on, well, then tough toenails. Then they don't know how to forgive, right? That's how I see it, like tough titties, right? Yeah. So, here we have that trine there, and it is to discerning Virgo. So, Virgo is about health. It's about refinement in our life. So beautiful for you, um, right? Mercury's ruling that house, Pisces, and Mercury is also ruling the sun because it's in Gemini. So, right, and the sun is making a sextile to Chiron right here, coming from your house of emotional needs to Chiron. There's so much healing in this particular reading because for you, an overcoming Pisces, because the sun is in the fourth house. It's a hidden house where you kind of didn't see things before, but most likely. But the sun, um, yeah, this is, and the sixth and the 12th are very important here for you. Those are about healing. They sure are. Um, yeah, beautiful. And Chiron is in your third house. So, the way you think is differently, and that's helping you overcome as well. Yeah, very cool there. I feel like it is. Very interesting. All right, so we talked about Mercury, and where is Mercury though? Because Mercury's ruling that seventh. Mercury's in your fifth house of self-expression. So that's beautiful because that is how you shine. This is you being authentic, being the real Piscean that you can be, like your true potential. It's in the house of where you shine, your talents, your self-expression, and it's in nurturing Cancer. So Cancer is kind of making it says Mercury, if you want to be here, you have to be nurturing. Yeah, it is, right? And so because Mercury is not associated with nurturing, it's associated with the rational mind, right? Decisions and goals and stuff like that, thinking, right? So yeah, very beautiful here. And we also have Jupiter. This is your natal ruler, and that is in a conjunction. It's aligned. It's in an alliance here with Mercury in that fifth house. It's also your fifth house of lovers, love and sex, and how you have fun here. Chiron is making a square to Jupiter, your natal ruler. It's really Jupiter making the square, but from your fifth house of self-expression, how you shine. This is your confidence, right? It's kind of, your self-identity and things like that. And so it's there, and it is, squaring Chiron, and it is saying if you want to, experience more meaning in your life, right, and reach your true potential and grow and expand, you have to make an adjustment here and basically value yourself more and like kind of leave behind some type of either early childhood wound, or it's just, it can be, but has to do with value. Chiron in uh, moving into, um, Taurus is all about how we value ourselves. It has a lot to do with that, right? And then you can grow and expand and really grow with your own talents and step into what you're really good at, right? Pisceans are very They're healers, they're artists. They can be therapists, they can be doctors, they can be whatever they really want to be here. They definitely can. If there is a legal matter also that is related to childhood, that looks like it's being, it could be resolved here as well because we have the trine to your seventh house of legal matters, um, right? And this is coming from your third house of early childhood, all right? Yeah, and that can be, kind of overcome in a spiritual, psychological way. It sure can. The moon and the south node are, both highly related to, our spirit, our spirituality for sure, as is Chiron, right? As is astrology in general, for sure. It could be, and there is, there's a huge amount of support here to think different when you have Chiron in the third house, trining this kind of south node, which is associated with the past or limiting, um, limiting ourselves or a lack or, what has been limiting with that trine there. You can think different about your goals and your skills, or just think different here about your future because you're leaving some type of lack here. You're moving away from that with the trine from Chiron, and enjoy more personal well-being in your life, for sure. Um, yeah, yes. And so what else? Yeah, and that's all I have for you here, Pisces. Very beautiful. For you. And let's look at one more thing though, because Jupiter is ruling Sagittarius in your 10th house of career. Chiron is making a trine. I don't know if I mentioned this, because I kind of get away from the notes here, but Chiron's making a trine to your 10th house of career. This is where you thrive because part of fortune is where how you thrive. And it's in philosophical Sagittarius, which is Jupiter ruled. And Jupiter, we see what his Jupiter is kind of helping you do. It's to see where you can grow and to step into your true authenticity, all right, and who you are, um, authentically, all right, and how you can shine. So thank you so much, Pisces, for joining me here today. If you've liked my content, please like, share, and subscribe and hit the little bell. You'll be notified of my next upload. You sure will. And yeah, hit the little bell so you can be notified. If you want a reading with me, check out the description box below. And once again, thanks so much for joining me here.